First off, my apologies for us missing Monday. I was absolutely exhausted, completely worn out. I like literally passed out. I called the show at like literally the 11th hour, and it's been a really eventful week. A lot of stuff went down. Good things coming. I can officially make the announcement here tonight on the show that we are now officially over 400,000 views here on the Popcast Network.
Did we do this just in purpose? Because we did it just as the YouTube apocalypse starts happening again?
Well, considering the fact we do have over the deadline, we're fine. So we're good. I don't think we're losing monetization anytime soon. So, welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
How do you do?
And this will also be the first time that I break this news. We are going to be going live tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for our final 2018 Academy Awards predictions. So if you are one of the very few that overlap with wrestling and the awards season, then you heard it first. We're going to be going live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk our Oscar predictions on every single category. So it's going to be a crazy night. We got Raw 25 coming in a couple days, which of course is leading us to the weekend of the Royal Rumble, which is also our next NXT takeover. I believe we have New Japan as well in that time frame.
Yeah, the two first new beginning shows up in Hokkaido.
Right. Don't have any updates on the merchandise available at Hot Topic. I will say that those of you that were lucky enough, like myself, to get Hot Cash, it's probably valid now. Because they wanted you to wait until like the middle of January to be able to start using it. So there is a Elite backpack that's available now that you can find in some of the stores. That's the only thing I'm aware of that's new. So yeah, that's what's going on. A lot of things, new signings for World Wrestling Entertainment. Impact returned to my literal home away from home. Actually, my literal home. Universal Studios, Florida. And don't be too sure on that. And actually, I know for a fact don't be too sure on that. And there's also some things going on with everything. That Mixed Match Challenge, which just started, and a lot of things to discuss tonight. All this and more here on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. So, Ashley, because we missed Raw, we're just going to go right through all of the WWE stuff for the week, including the new signings. We're going to go through Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, Mixed Match Challenge, and NXT. So take it away.
Right, first I need to find my blog where I did the Raw results to make sure I've got somewhat accurate notes that aren't too dramatically detailed. So, we started off with the video package recapping Braun doing shit with a grappling hook. So he comes out and, he's got a story saying that, a beast and the machine met a monster at the Rumble and the monster won. So then Kurt comes out with loads of security and says, look, you put a lot of people's lives in danger last week. You could have seriously hurt people. You destroyed loads of equipment backstage. And Braun says, I do my job like you do. I do what I want. And Kurt says, well, the Universal title match changing because you're not in it because you're fired. Braun is pissed. And walks away. And then he's like in a standoff with security backstage. This is still continuing after we come back from the ads. And one security guard's like, just leave. He's just like, fuck it. And just throws them all about backstage, through tables and stuff, into, objects. He isn't leaving till everybody's faced his hands. Okay. Bit of a weird word. Or phrasing to use, I guess. So then we have the Bar versus Titus Worldwide. Decent match of sort. Well, decent match to open with, really. The finish came with Jason Jordan showing up and coming out on the stage, and the Bar are like, what's all this about? And Apollo manages to roll up Sheamus. Worldwide get another fluke win. So now Braun's outside Kurt's office, kicks the doors down. Nobody's in there. So he smashes the furniture and the TV screen inside and everything, and then leaves. And then we get to the first part of how many fucking people are we going to name for this show? So part of Raw 25 next week, the Bella Twins, Jacqueline, Terry Runnels, Tori Wilson, even though she's 30 weeks pregnant, Maria Kanellis, Michelle McCool, and Kelly Kelly. Worth noting that since then, they actually have announced the obvious name of Trish Stratus. Then there's Mixed Match Challenge hype, as in bloody Facebook videos. So now some guys running into catering area saying, guys, Braun's coming, get out of the way. He flees, and immediately behind him, Braun shows up, beats up like, I think, it depends who was on main event. Can you get those notes up, Owen?
Main event?
In terms of who was... Yeah, the main event spoilers. I think it might have been Grand Metalik and somebody else.
It's usually possible. Let's find out.
Might have been Callisto. I'm guessing Kurt Hawkins is the one that I do remember. So he ruins catering, and then some staffer chef comes in with a giant chocolate cake. I say giant. It's a regular sort of size, but it's probably something that you carry on like a dinner plate. It's about that size. And Braun goes to him, grabs a piece of cake, and just munches it, and walks off. It's like, okay. Main event spoilers?
I can't find them.
Okay.
Let me look. I can start to look around a little bit. So what? January 15th.
Well, if you just Google it and search for results in the last week, they'll be there.
I got it.
So Enzo makes his way out saying that he's doing better than Kurt is right now. So actually acknowledging stuff that happened a few minutes ago. He's the monster of 205 Live to Braun's full-on monster.
Yep, I got the results.
And if we're talking monsters, he's Frankenstein to Cedric's Dracula because Cedric sucks.
Oh, geez.
Jesus Christ, who wrote this?
Rhino beat Hawkins and TJP over Mustafa Ali.
Well, somebody with a mask. I'm guessing it was either Callisto or Metalik. It was a fleeting glimpse because I was trying to obviously write at the same time as that shit happening. Cedric's got to get through his garlic, Tony Abs. So then Cedric and Goldust come out. Cedric's a blockbuster star, Goldust says, and Enzo will go straight to DVD. There'll be only one word to describe Cedric, and that's champion. And the word to describe Enzo will be solved. Braun's still smashing around backstage while this match is going on. Decent match. Not given that much time, in all honesty. Cedric winning with a lumbar check. Certainly, I think they might have given it somewhat like 8 minutes. I haven't got an actual time on it here, but it was okay. Sort of what you expect in terms of what they do. Stuff this up, and he's going, I called the cops and ordered the SWAT team to show up. There you go. Officially, Kurt Angle has just swatted somebody. John Cone comes in and goes, sorry, Kurt, but Braun's heading for the production trucks. And Kurt's like, what? They're worth $12 million each. And in today's why the fuck was this factoid mentioned here? So Strowman finds the truck, gets in, throwing paper around, going, do I press this button and take it off the air? Do I? Doesn't do anything, just scares the shit out of the people in there, including Kevin Dunn. Kevin got his 15 minutes of fame, the duff bastard. And he leaves, and he leaves through a door to go out of the thing. And the one guy decides to look through the entire trailer just in case he's here, even though he left out the door. So they quickly hurry back to their positions. And then they make as if the truck bloody shakes dramatically. And we cut to outside, and Braun's apparently detached the truck from the trailer part of it. And gets out, lifting it a bit, but then Kurt and security run in saying, look, Braun, the police are coming. And Braun's like, I don't care. And he pushes the truck over. With the actual shit in it, just the truck. Braun's leaving. Kurt's getting a call on his mobile. So Strowman's now going into the arena and sees the commentary team. So they all flee, except Cole decides to trip up right at Braun's feet. So Braun's grabbing him, giving him probably the biggest wedgie that Michael Cole's ever had. And Kurt and security show up and goes, Braun, you can stop. I've called off the cops with Stephanie. You've been rehired. You're back in the title match. And then Cole gets thrown off the side of the stage onto the pile of security. And that's the last we see of Michael Cole for the night. Yeah, random happened. So then we get to part 2 of how many fucking people do we need to name for this show if it's only 3 hours? So we got Undertaker, DX, JR, the Dudley Boys, Ric Flair, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff, the New Age Outlaws, Chris Jericho, the Acolytes, or the APA, I guess if you want to call them that, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The interesting twist on those names, the Jericho deal hasn't even been inked. Apparently. So who knows what's going on there. So Tom Phillips is now in to replace Cole on commentary for the rest of the night. So we get Nia Jax versus Asuka, which was a very well put together match. Asuka getting overpowered a lot. She did get some offense in, but it was sort of mainly like Nia sort of grinding Asuka down. But Asuka was doing the same back and put on a lengthy leg bar submission, but Nia got out of. So it went to the outside, and Nia was stood up on the top of the steps, and Asuka was apron, and Asuka kicked her right in the bottom of the shin. So much so that Nia falls through the gap between the ring and the steps and lands in such a way that they're making out that she fucked up her knee. And she just about gets in the ring and everything, and keeps trying to get up, and every time she just has to fall down because, to be honest, on the second fall down, it was clearly a theatrical fall rather than an actual real fall. You know, I've seen people do fake knee injuries better. But either way, the referee stops the match due to, the injury. So Asuka just about keeps her winning streak. But it is worth noting, Booker T quoted the line here, "Look, everyone's unbeaten streak comes to an end someday. Unless you're Floyd Mayweather." Great, so you disproved your own fucking statement. Well done, Booker. God almighty. Alexa did come out to check on Nia throughout this, and the officials helped Nia limp away to the back. So then Kurt's backstage, and Jason's coming in, thanking his dad for the opportunity, and I'm thinking, do this? Well, he's just having to recover from all the shit that Braun's done. So Jason wants to help out his partner. Singles match for Rollins against Balor. And Kurt's like, okay. Clearly, he's not focused on the fact that, he's doing stuff and whatever. It's more, Braun did this shit. It's worth noting as well that at this point, they recap what happened to Cole, noting that he's recovering backstage. Says that he disapproves of Stephanie rehiring him. So all of a sudden, the heel ring announcer is the face? I guess. Then they do a really good MLK tribute package, including a 10-bell salute. Which is a bit weird. So then Nia and Alexa backstage, and Alexa's sorry for getting her into this. So Enzo comes in to check on Nia. And Alexa's like, I want to stay and make sure you're all right. And both Enzo and Nia are basically like, we've got this sort of deal. And they sort of, look at each other for about 5 seconds, with concern. And then they're looking at each other for about 20 seconds, working out, when are they going to fucking cut away from us to whatever we're going to come next? And then finally we cut to the ring because the Revival are facing jobbers that were not given any names.
You know who they were?
Yes. I know the reason why they weren't given names is because they were featured in Botchamania's 10 Worst Endings of 2017. It was Extra Talented of Ricky Starks and Mr. Bailey, Aaron Solo. Revival won with the Shatter Machine in pretty much a squash match. Randomly in the ring, just from nowhere. And Revival don't even get Charlie to sort of really ask any questions. And saying, like, this is how tag team wrestling should be done. We're students of the game. So Charlie's like, oh, so which of the legends then, you know, do you want to face? Or, sorry, which of the legends do you want to meet next week? Sorry. What's going to happen? And Revival said, none of them are worthy. They're all sports entertainers. We're professional wrestlers. You know, WWE won't be able to change us into the image of sports entertainers. It's our universe, and we'll be the ones that set the mark for the next 25 years. So what we've set up is Revival are getting fucked up by a load of legends on Monday, aren't they?
Why do I got a feeling they're going to get destroyed by Degeneration X just to prove a point to the Bullet Club?
Yeah, but think about it. If you look back at that list, we got DX, we got the Dudleys, we've got the New Age Outlaws, we've got the Outsiders of Hall and Nash, we got the APA.
The Revival are going to get Public Enemy.
I might as well mention it here. We've also got, because it was announced later on, Godfather, Brother Love, Boogeyman, Brooklyn Brawler, Teddy Long, $1 Million Man Teddy Biasi, John Laurinaitis, and Sergeant Slaughter. So who knows?
Yeah, they're going to eat tag team finishers from everybody that was just mentioned, unless they do something different.
So then, interestingly, Elias does a song with Cheap Heat at San Antonio, but then talking about how he wants revenge on Cena for the Christmas Day Raw. The new cover story, because Joe's injured, is it's going to be Elias, I guess, getting thrown out by Cena.
Interesting.
At Mania, I'm guessing. And then plays a song for Miz and the Miztourage, who make their way out. Miz cuts a promo once we get back and said that the welcome back chants felt awesome last week. You know, the fans noticed that the spark that ignites Raw was missing for the past 6 weeks, and it weren't Cena, it weren't Lesnar, it was him. You know, he got his IC title rematch granted to him last week. That felt awesome. A beatdown on Roman felt awesome. That triple power bomb on Roman felt awesome. Hell, you know, he's got his own reality series, Miz and Mrs. Commissioned by USA. And he's going to do next week what he usually does, and that's over-deliver for the company, get his title back, and that's going to feel awesome. And he actually said it in the awesome way, which he hasn't done in quite a number of months. So it's the Miztourage in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Roman Reigns. It's not too bad. It's the usual sort of, okay, that's nice and all. Roman wins with a spear on Axel, and that's all you get from it. Really. Miz was trying to interfere and everything, but didn't actually get struck or anything. And then, into the reason, do a show on Monday. Because I have to do something that I haven't done in quite a while. So it's Sasha Banks taking on Sonya Deville.
Why?
Oh, trust me. That isn't the problem. So they make note that due to a neck injury, Paige will not be able to compete at the Rumble. And I'm going in my head,
Or possibly ever.
of course, I didn't want to mention that. Also worth noting, at least this is what I could tell from Ross from Cultaholic. Dana Brooke was on the poster for the Women's Royal Rumble, and by the end of the night, she wasn't. So I guess maybe she's not there as well. Either way. So this match, there was a little bit of offense from Sonya, but it was Sasha quite a lot of the way. So Sasha goes up to the second rope of the turnbuckle for a dive. And when she dives, Sonya basically kicks her in the midriff. 1, 2, 3. Just like that, Sonya somehow wins. What the actual fuck? This would be okay, it was accidental with Paige. I wish it wasn't accidental with Sasha. Sonya is way too fucking green to be part of 54-year and 51-week-old show.
Right.
And the logic, just like it was 50-50, she hit a move that wasn't even her finisher, and it got the win. Somehow, a kick to the gut, I guess, quote unquote, knocked Sasha unconscious because she was down for the 3 count.
Wow.
Paige, you should just do what's right and just go to GFW. Her career's going to be going that shit if she's going to be associated with these two unqualified at this minute in time idiots. Then there was some more WWE and MLK stuff. I guess it was filmed last week when they were in Memphis because it's them visiting, I think, the Civil Rights Museum that's there. So then there was some Seth and Jason stuff backstage. Seth not being happy with Jason, setting up matches and everything and interrupting the bar. He's got no problem with what he did by setting up the match and everything with Finn, but just the manner that he did it. Then it's time for Woke and Matt with that stupid fucking music again. Decent-ish match with Heath Slater. Matt obviously wins with the twist of fate. And Matt celebrates. And nothing fucking happens. Yes, everybody. Bray Wyatt apparently was dead. Because he wasn't on the show. So then they have the official video package for the unsurprising reveal that Goldberg's going to be in the Hall of Fame in April. I mean, New Orleans is a bit of a weird place to do it. Was New Orleans WCW country?
Well, yeah, there was a lot of WCW that took place in New Orleans. And don't forget that Nitro at the Superdome. But then again, that's a good example because a lot of Goldberg's matches in WCW, like on Nitro, a lot of them took place in New Orleans.
Or I guess it's just a big enough name.
Yeah, because I can't really think
Don't
of any
matter
like,
whether it fits
correlation
or
between the
not.
two.
So,
Cleveland says he misses the rant song.
came back because, trust me, if it was on Monday, there would have been even more bio and stuff that probably shouldn't have aired. But Owen put pay to that.
Yep. I kind of didn't really have a choice.
Owen made you have an average rant rather than a full-on holy shit rant.
Yeah, I had to call Monday. There was no way I could have done the show.
So the main event, Balor versus Rollins. Good match. And the end went weird. Because Seth had Finn down. Had Seth down for a 3 count. But the referee counted 2.9. For some reason. So then the Bar show up. So Jason's like running away because he obviously doesn't want to get involved. So the Bar and the Good Brothers start brawling. Finn dives out onto all 4 of them and whatever to sort it out. So Finn then gets back in the ring from what I remember. Raw. Seth gets out the way. Finn starts running the ropes, I guess, for probably the Sling Blade, I'm thinking.
Most likely.
But Jordan trips him up. And he's crawling on the floor. Seth's like looking at Jordan going, "What you doing?" And then he notices. And then he pulls out the curb stomp.
The blackout is back, and I'm very happy to finally see it happen.
Seth Rollins wins.
Welcome back, Tyler Powell, Ginger Boy Wonder. It's been a minute. Curb Stomp is back. Give me a hell yeah. Jeremy Mills, welcome back.
Oh, he did the deal.
Yeah, darn right he did.
Actually, he did a superplex into the deal.
He's been doing that for a while, actually.
He fucking did that because he knew Ricochet was coming the day after, didn't he?
Exactly. We'll talk about Ricochet later, Cleveland. Don't worry.
And then they show the replay saying that the ref screwed up. Or, you know, he didn't see it or whatever. And then Finn's recovering from the curb stomp. Looking as if, you know, he's been knocked a little senseless. And then they look at him. And then they look at him. And then they look at him and I'm going, Kevin, why haven't you put the fucking credits on? Looking at him. And keep looking at him. And keep looking at him. And then finally, they keep looking at him. And then we fade to black. I don't know what happened with the ending. Not even the match. The ending of the show. It literally focused on just Finn in the ring. It was sort of as if, like, they were expecting the Good Brothers to turn on Finn. And just lay him out. But nothing happened. It was just him like... I'm in a bad way. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was Raw. Crazy ass shit.
Sounds like it.
To Smackdown, aka, what the fuck am I watching this for? Because we start off with Xavier Woods and Jinder. The first thing to note, actually, before this, the US title tournament final got pulled. Royal Rumble. Like Tuesday morning. Which immediately meant that people probably thought, right, so whoever wins next week on SmackDown is probably going to face Ziggler because he's suddenly going to randomly show up again. And that's what they'll do then. But New Day start off with like a promo for the opening thing. Yeah. Once again with the propaganda for the the whole US title thing, that a vote for me is a vote for free. And that good things come in threes. And then, you know, Big E's like Home Alone, and Xavier goes, well, Home Alone 3 wasn't that good. Correction, guys. I think there's been like 6 Home Alones.
Oh, God, all the straight to DVD ones?
There wasn't a trilogy. Over here, Home Alone 3 was straight to DVD, so I have the only ones that I know are Home Alone 1 and 2.
Let's look at that, because I'm curious now.
Home Alone 3 as a video release.
Right.
For some Christmas thing that we did over here. It was fucking terrible.
There is, yep, I was right, 5 of them.
5. I believe the third one didn't get a cinema release over here. Either way, then Jinder comes out after that and all that. They have their match. The finish coming with Xavier missing his springboard elbow drop. Mahal then puts Xavier throat first into the bottom rope. Mahal hits the callus and goes to the final next week. So then we get Ben with a video saying, I was built for the Rumble. I don't have any friends and anything goes. There's no distractions. All I see is a ring of potential victims and a lifetime of opportunities. My time to main event mania. How about no? So then Renee's backstage with AJ. And Renee's talking about, you know, what he thinks about the confidence of Kevin and Sammy. And AJ's like, no, they got a 3-on-1 advantage. You know, Kevin is 2 people. They're just like each other. You know, we might as well amalgamate them and call them Cammy. So you literally take. Why don't you call them Cammy? But that's taking 1 letter of Kevin's name and 3 letters of Sammy's name. Wouldn't Kimmy been better?
Maybe.
You know, the thought of them being co-champs makes him want to throw up. You know, he's overcome obstacles and will do everything to make sure that the Yep movement comes to an end. You know, it ain't the Cammy show, it's the house that AJ Styles built, and it's SmackDown. Completely, what the fuck was this promo? So then we have the usual oh, let's do video packages. Or, video insert packages. Carmella, she's winning the Rumble. Natalia's winning the Rumble. Tamina's winning the Rumble. Lana's winning the Rumble. Naomi is. Ruby Riott is. Sarah is. Liv Morgan is. Becky Lynch is. Everybody fucking is. What fucking ever. So then we get Rude versus Mojo in the second semi-final. Decent-ish. Because it's Mojo, it couldn't really be that good. Rude did a lot of carrying. Winning with the spine buster, followed by the glorious DDT.
Good.
And then afterwards, the Sings beat the shit out of him. And next week, he'll put a glorious end to Rude Sherrod to become the next US champion. So Bobby, still recovering in the ring, goes, whoa. We don't have to wait until next week. Why don't we do it tonight? And Mahal's like, nope. Going to be when I want it and on my time. So then Daniel Bryan comes out and goes, no, he's got an idea. I like the sound of it. We're having the final tonight. Okay. So now Randy Orton's cutting a promo. Saying, some people prefer the calm before the storm. Some people prefer the silence because it makes them think more clearly. I want the storm. I want the noise. The Royal Rumble's my match. 30 men with their own agendas, friends turning into enemies. Win the most coveted prize in WWE. I'm going to win it for a third time in Main Event Mania. Okay, who gives a fuck? Then we get the Riot Squad versus Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky Lynch. Okay, not brilliant, not bad. Sadly, it's Naomi that's the victim to a round kick from Ruby and the pin going to fucking Liv Morgan with a code breaker.
Oh boy.
So then the Usos are backstage. Asked about the Royal Rumble match. And it's like, how do Benjamin and Gable think they're going to become a tag team in the first place, considering, Gable just on the rebound after Jason went to Raw and became a champ. Jimmy says that, they can't tell us apart, but they'll find out at the Rumble. Yeah, they will. One of you won't be fucking there. What? One of you, for some reason, will eat the pin because, DWI, motherfuckers. But then, interestingly, just to twist that all, Gable and Benjamin attack him from behind. And Chad comes with a good line saying, we know who you are. Former champs. Decent-ish line. Then Nakamura as a random 30 men, one destiny, one winner. Me. Let's rumble. What? Even though he's my pick to win. Jesus Christ. So Shane McMahon suddenly shows up. And Daniel Bryan shows up. And then they show highlights from the Fashion Files for this week. With Aiden English saying last week was a fluke and you know, we'll have a match next week on Rusev Day. And Fandango sort of, in reply, goes, "Oh, yeah, no, that's all right. On behalf of the Ascension, they accept your offer." So they're playing that again in terms of, like, you know, the others are going to get fed to the lambs or whatever. The thing is worth noting, the Ascension were reading like gluten-free magazine or something. And Fandango was being interviewed by Renee Breeze. That's the best way I can describe it. So it was like a bit different for a fashion file thing, but still sort of entertaining. So then Rude versus Jinder. They made out that Rude was injured and hurt and in a bad shape. He's a glorious DDT. Bobby Roode wins. And gets the belt from Daniel and Shane. That's it. A really bad SmackDown. Which is surprising because it wasn't going up against anything. At all.
Crazy.
So now we transition, because this actually happened next, to Mixed Match Challenge. Starts with about, 5-10 minutes of Facebook video packages. The match itself was solid, considering it was, Balor and Banks versus Nakamura and Natalya. You haven't really got a bad person there. We'll have to wait till other weeks to see how bad we get. Also, interestingly, so the finish came with Nakamura going for the Kinshasa, but Balor sent him into the ring post shoulder first. So Sasha tags in off the apron, then kicks Natalya. Sasha and Balor too sweet each other. They then do drop kicks to their respective sexed partner. Or sexed opponent. Sounds wrong, but drop kick the guy and the girl, drop kick the girl, because, no intergender violence is allowed, you see. In which case, why have you done this? And then Sasha hits the lung blower into the bank statement and Natalya taps out. So with that, Nakamura's already gone from this tournament. Which makes me think fucking Rumble.
Yep.
So next week in a, well, this is fucking one-sided, isn't it? Match. Carmella and Big E take on Asuka and Miz. Oh, that'll be fun. And then we come to 205 Live, which starts off with TJP versus Gran Metalik. Solid match. Metalik actually getting the win, countering a victory roll into a victory roll of it. Or, TJ was going for his double underhook gutbuster, is it?
Mm-hmm.
His finisher. But Metalik countered it into the victory roll and got the win. And then, interestingly, we go to the back, and TJ's like in a hissy fit. And again, I think it was Kayla, whatever, came in and goes, "Are you crying, TJ?" So not like, joining me, my guest at this time sort of stuff. It was actually just like, a natural sounding line. And Perkins is like, no, and walks away. So then they recap Itami and Gallagher from last week. And Gallagher's got cutting a promo backstage. Not with any interviewer, just like sort of like an inset sort of promo. And for the past few weeks, he's been hearing the sound of Kendrick's skull cracking. He's been tortured in underestimating Itami. You know, Kendrick's at home bandage, his future uncertain, but his lessons are with me. The plan's quite simple. Every piece of armor is indestructible until you find that right point. Whether it's family or something else, I will attack. It might come from the sides or right in front of you, but you will rue the day that you came to 205 Live. Good promo. So now we've got this Cedric Alexander Goldust thing. And Goldust quotes Benjamin Button of all films for some reason. And is excited by the fact that, you know, he's mentoring Cedric and it's firing him up as well. So then here comes Enzo and says, wow, you deserve an Academy Award for acting buddy-buddy like you are. You know, I'm a bigger star than either of you. I'll put a $2,500 sneaker in your face and retain that belt. Then Goldust does some Goodfellas. So I'm guessing that's probably what, you think you're funny? Like a clown?
Probably.
Enzo says, just shut up. And Goldust says, okay, come to the ring and make me. And then Enzo's like, I'll make you famous. And I'm like, that's somebody else's line. And Enzo goes, no, if you want the best of all time, you got to get through the auditions. So you got to get through the Zo train if you want a piece of me. So Goldust is facing all three of Daivari, Gulak, and Nice. Cedric manages to do a dive onto Enzo when he's yelling at Nice and Daivari because they miscommunicate and hit each other. And I'm not sure who gets hit with the final cut, but it happens and Goldust wins. So I'm guessing either on Raw next week or 205 Live, we're getting Goldust versus Enzo. And that silence proves that this is 205 Live.
Wow.
That happened. That happened.
Well, let's move on to the final beat. Well, do you want to talk about the signings right now, or do you want to get those later in when we talk about the news?
We'll mention it after NXT because I'm guessing they're probably showing up in NXT, in all honesty.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're going to see somebody show up at Royal Rumble weekend.
Okay. So we opened. I mean, we did you catch tonight? Because
no, I will say Kevin Nash is not going to be on Raw 25 either.
Oh, has he dropped out?
He had to drop out because of his knee replacement.
Oh.
I'll keep on that for the rest of the night.
So, so I'm not prepared. I was trying to get some notes for Ring of Honor later, and for some reason it's IP blocking me. It was okay, show. One thing we have established from this past week and last week's show is Center Stage is terrible as a wrestling venue.
No, it's not. It's WCW.
Yes. Stage. The stage is the biggest issue that I have with it.
Well, Ring of Honor doesn't have to worry about that, so that's the reason why it works better for them.
But the difference that you get it's in this show where they have to come out and pose and then sort of walk away to the side and down the steps. It's like, what? So we started off with Heavy Machinery for taking on Sabatelli and Moss. This was solid. Mainly because, well, you know who the jobbers are. Which amazingly was Heavy Machinery because, you know, Swerve. His feet were on the ropes for leverage. With Knight getting rolled up.
Well, I mean, I understand them pushing Tino and Riddick because they are hugely over as a tag team on all the house show loops. So bringing them to television is not a bad idea. But the only problem is, once again, you got heel tag team holding the belts. So needless to say, you need to push a strong babyface team. And who they're pushing is not a strong babyface team.
So then Undisputed Era cut a backstage promo saying, you know, need of being the ones that win again at the takeover, no matter whether it's AOP or the Street Profits. And then also about the Extreme Rules match with Cole and Aleister Black. So then we get to Roderick Strong versus Fabian Eichner. Solid. Strong getting the win with a stronghold submission. Good display from both of them, though. Also weird that Fabian Eichner kept his name. At least for the time being. And basically, Roddy wants Lars Sullivan. Just like last week, Sullivan want Killian Dane. So what we've established is they want each other because Johnny Gargano is the odd one out. So then we get a video package for TM61. And this, you know, their background of coming from Australia and going to Japan, and then I guess the next bit which will be on next week. So now it's time for Aaliyah versus Lacey Evans. Which basically Aaliyah sort of wins with... Sorry, Lacey sort of wins with like a Big Show style knockout punch.
These are literally two of the worst workers on the NXT roster.
I still don't get the gimmick for Lacey. Is she supposed to look like... I guess they just saw Thunder Kitty from when she was in at the start of last year. And they went, well, we want something like that, but we obviously want it military themed because of her background.
I was thinking she's something like Steve Rogers would have saw in Captain America.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly the 40 style dress there, yeah.
That's the vibe I get from her. She's like a Rosie the Riveter type.
And then Mike and says, well, it's time for a real classy and powerful woman to clean house to get rid of this scum. And then immediately I'm thinking, well, from what I can see, Aaliyah's mixed race. So is this a racist thing? Then she mentions Nikki Cross and I'm going, perhaps not. And then she mentions Ember Moon and I'm going, yes, this is racist. And then she's basically just mentioning Kairi Sane as well. So I'm in my head, I'm going, yep, they're saying that she's racist. But as she's saying Kairi's name, Shayna shows up randomly on the stairs because, you know, no ramp. And Baszler stays her down and Evans backs away and Baszler decides to fuck up Aaliyah with a choke. Ember came out for the save. Shayna leaves and says, look, bully me like you bully the others. You know, if you want to fight, let's fight. And Shayna's like, oh, I'm not in my gear. And Moon said, okay, name the time and the place. And Baszler, with no mic, it's a tiny venue, and not even the crowd could make it out, just sort of goes, Philadelphia for the belt. So then we got Christy backstage with William Regal. And says, well, it's against better judgment versus Baszler for the titles set for TakeOver. So then Zelina Vega pops in and basically rags on Johnny Gargano and says, you know, the only reason he's in this match is because Velveteen Dream wasn't there. Now, why shouldn't it be him that gets the title shot? Then we get a random No Way Jose promo. You know, 2017 was full of ups and downs, but like all roller coasters, it was fun. Weird lines, whatever. He's back in action next week. So then Johnny Gargano shows up and says, I heard all the conversations and the chatter and some even behind my back. I'm not a broken man. I'm not a loser. My wins haven't been flukes. This is my time and no one's going to stop me. Jumper. So Gargano goes, if I have to fix it, fine. Velveteen Dream, you get me next week. And whoever wins will face Almas at TakeOver. So then we get Street Profits versus Authors of Pain, which on paper looks like a squash match, which it sort of was So I guess the push for the Street Profits is already dead.
Wow.
I guess maybe. Super Collider in the last chapter, Authors of Pain, face Bobby and Kyle in Philly.
Great.
And then they go up to the main roster and fuck up the Bludgeon Brothers, and then War Machine come in. So yeah, we might as well mention it. There are other names, but the ones that they've really pushed on are Ricochet, Candice LeRae, and War Machine of Hanson and Rowe. Sort of unsurprisingly, I would say.
I'm seeing if there's anybody else that we know out of the list. Yeah, they're not really saying anything. They're just like, yep, the important ones. So yeah, that's your WWE news for the night.
Mm-hmm.
So according to my schedule, I think we're going into mixed martial arts next.
So, I'll get to the news in a minute. So the stuff that we've missed since not being here. The stuff right at the end of the year, I guess the big thing would have been Cyborg retaining over Holly Holm to keep the women's featherweight title. She is open to fighting Amanda Nunes. She has said in interviews of this week, but only if it's in the main event. If it's second to last on the card, she ain't interested. Then again, she's on that enough of a level that she probably could be. That did get fight of the night for December 30th as well. Performances of the night. The one went to the only fight on the prelims, with Tim Elliott beating Mark De La Rosa with an Anaconda choke submission midway through the second round, which means that he basically doubled his money. And then also Khabib Nurmagomedov. His unanimous decision win over Edson Barboza, which was that unanimous. The two of the judges gave it 30-25, and the other judge gave it 30-24. So yeah, if you do the math, one of the judges gave 3 10-8 rounds. It was that one-sided. So yeah, Khabib got $50,000 extra as well. Moving through to this past weekend, an interesting one to some extent, because let's just say it got a little bit clusterfucky. Because stuff happened at the last minute. So at the weigh-ins, weighed in 4 pounds over the featherweight limit. So the bout happened at a catchweight limit. It was on the Fight Pass. It was on the Fight Pass prelims anyway. So it would have been on the main card. But the really interesting one was the main event, because it never happened. Because en route to the weigh-ins, Uriah Hall fainted. Medically treated. So therefore, the fight against Belfort, which I believe was supposed to be his last ever bloody, didn't happen. I guess Vitor's got to wait for his retirement match. I'm guessing. Now if I can find the story about it from Dave. I can't remember the numbers. I think it's like the 8th or 9th. I think there's been 31 people that have either missed weight or not been able to weigh in because of these early morning weigh-ins that they're doing. So if you take that into account, there really needs to be something done about this issue, in all honesty. On top of that, sort of around the same time, the news came in that Robert Whittaker had to withdraw from his title defense against Luke Rockhold at the 221 pay-per-view next month in Australia due to an undisclosed injury. So now Rockhold's fighting Yoel Romero for the interim title. The irony being, of course, Robert Whittaker was interim champion already, beating Romero last year, and the interim name got dropped because GSP said he was going to be out, dealing with colitis and whatever. So he wouldn't be defending it anytime soon. So the interim champ that became the actual champ has had to drop the belt. So the belt, the match now becomes an interim title. So the interim title, after being got rid of like a few weeks ago, is now going to exist again. Yeah, UFC's in a bad way. I guess the other thing to note from the show, before we actually get into results for this fight night, the deal that they had with Matt Hughes, really well done. If you remember, Matt Hughes was the guy who had that freak truck accident with the level crossing in the train back in June. And some people thought, he might die and, even in that case, might never walk again. And they do a great video package for him. And Hughes walked to ringside with his entrance music that he would have had when he fought and everything. And it was amazing considering, 6-7 months ago, the state of the accident he was in, and he's able to sort of walk somewhat a long distance, at least to get to ringside to watch the show. It's sort of like an honorary guest sort of thing. Man. Also, because I hadn't seen it before, the match that he had at UFC 52 against whoever it was, I can't even remember off the top of my head. That fight was a real good one. And, Dana said it's still his favorite fight to this day. So there we go. So this show in St. Louis now got main evented by Jeremy Stevens and Duho Choi, winning via TKO midway through the second round. Also on the main card, Jessica Rose Clark beat Paige Van Zandt by unanimous decision. I don't know whether she's going to be giving it up. I think that's 2 losses in a row as it stands. Let me just double check. Yeah, she lost to Michelle Waterson as well. And that was, wow, back in December 2016. So, I guess it makes sense because if she was doing... No, because the only thing she did that I can think of is Chopped, at least from what I'm seeing here. So I don't know why she was out for so long. We also had Kamaru Usman beat Emil Weber-Meek via unanimous decision, and Darren Elkins beat Michael Johnson with a rear naked choke midway through the second. Stevens and Doo Ho Choi's match got a fight of the night. Darren Elkins submission got a $50,000 bonus for performance of the night, along with Polo Reyes on the undercard with a 60-second knockout punch on Matt Frivola. Also worth noting as well that I won on the Fight Pass undercard. Why she was there, bit surprising because full name, she's certainly more recognizable than some of the people that I've seen so far. So I guess it's because she's lost 4 on the bounce. She had the giant Bellator run and everything. Then as soon as she got to in UFC, you know, she tested positive for marijuana after her first match. And then in all her other matches, she's only won 2 of her last 7. So I guess I just recognize her from some of the stuff she did in Bellator when Bellator was still a thing. Wow, the power nearly went out of my hand. That would have been an interesting way to go out.
Yeah, then the show would have just ended right dead on its tracks.
Oh no, it's fucking flickering. I'm warning you now,
Oh, no.
Owen. Cuts.
We may be cutting the show. We may be cutting the show short then.
I'll try. Well, I'm guessing it's wind and whatever, because it is sort of gusty outside. Right. Yeah.
I understand that.
So, for this weekend, I ain't got time now to go through the news just in case everything collapses, at least in terms of the MMA stuff. This weekend, double header of events. This Friday, we've got Bellator 192 from Inglewood, California, on the Paramount Network because it's no longer Spike. So there's about 15,000 pre-show matches, so I won't go through them. The 5 that we've got on the main card are pretty interesting, though. Or at least the 2 main events are. So in the featherweight division, we've got Aaron Pico versus Shane Crutchin and Yorgi Karakanyan versus Henry Corrales. In the lightweights, we've got Michael Chandler taking on Goiti Yamuchi. And then the co-main event, even though it's the title match, Douglas Lima defending the welterweight title against Roy McDonald. And then in the main event, Quentin Rampage Jackson versus Chael Sonnen for the Bellator heavyweight tournament. So I guess that's going to be getting good, probably. We'll have to see. And then on Saturday, UFC 220. They're back on pay-per-view from Boston, MA. This one I will go through the full card. On Fight Pass, we've got a lightweight bout with Islam Makhachev versus Gleason Thibault. And in the featherweights, we've got Enrique Barzola versus Matt Bessette. One prelims, we've got Dan Ige and Julio Arca in the featherweight division. In the flyweights, Dustin Ortiz versus Alexandra Pantoja. In the welterweights, we've got Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Sabah Hamasi. In the main event for the prelims, another featherweight bout with Kyle Bochiak versus Brandon Davis. And on the main pay-per-view, starting off a bantamweight bout with Thomas Almeida versus Rob Font. Then a light heavyweight contest with Gian Villante versus Francimar Barroso. Then a featherweight fight with Calvin Kattar versus Shane Burgos. And then your double main event. We got the light heavyweight title on the line with Daniel Cormier defending against Volkan Ozdemir for the light heavyweight title. And Stipe Miocic defending the heavyweight title against Francis Ngannou. So it could be an interesting double main event there. For sure. Actually, I just need to double check whether that is going to be something that I can watch. No, it isn't. Because the SAGs are on Saturday. So there you go. In case you needed any more, prompting, Owen, I guess we're doing a podcast on Saturday.
Why are we doing a podcast on Saturday?
SAGs? Oh, no. Hang on.
We're not doing anything on Saturday. I'm going to SAC on Saturday, good sir.
So I've got the. Wait, hang on? Does that actually?
The SAGs are this Sunday,
Wow.
8 o'clock.
So I had the dates wrong. So that means Bellator and UFC are going head to head.
Oh wow!
Now I understand the stack cards. I had my dates wrong on my notes. Right, that makes it even more ridiculous. So you've got Rampage, Sonnen, and Lima McDonald on Bellator's card, and then you've got DC, Ozdemir, and Miocic and Ngannou on UFC's card. Well, if you're an MMA fan, Saturday's going to be fun. Yeah. I'll quickly see if there's... Actually, I should probably see if there's any new stuff from the latest update from Dave in terms of UFC rather than anything else. Interesting. So the Saturday show on Fox Sports 1 that was heavily promoted during the Fox NFL games did UFC's best ratings on there since February 2 years ago. Probably due to Paige Van Zandt, they're saying, possibly. The last time it got that viewership was the Fox show from December, which was really solid. Not December just gone, the 1 year before. They are considering stripping Conor of the lightweight title. In terms of other stuff. Interestingly, Belfort says he wants Michael Bisping in London. So whether that might happen, because if that's the case, it's a retirement match for both men. Should be weird. Rafael Dos Anjos will be getting the welterweight title shot at Tyron Woodley when Woodley's recovered from his surgery. There is some reports that UFC wants to do a show in Russia soon, but no real confirmations on that. And the Fagros versus Joanna rematch is being sort of scheduled tentatively at the minute for 2/23. So I think that's the pay-per-view in May. I think. Yeah, other than that, we'll probably leave it there in terms of the UFC stuff.
All right.
Thankfully, no lights have flickered since.
How about
Next up,
Ring of Honor?
So obviously we're still doing stuff. Well, we're gradually building to what's coming up next, at least. I'll just cover this week's stuff, though. We had Lethal and Osprey, which was a really good match, which is you'd expect considering the two of them. Lethal getting the win, countering the Oz Cutter into a cutter of his own, and following it up with a lethal injection. So then we had Coleman's Pulpit with Jonathan Gresham. And I mean, it was, you know, Gresham making some jokes and talking about his career was nice, but Coleman is not a great talker in that he sort of seems average, but then at the same time, half the time he's talking, it feels like he's trying to get into a fight and be in a match with somebody, but didn't really get anywhere. Then we had Kenny King versus Brian Malonis, which was probably average. Kenny King's squash match, but Brian didn't do a heck of a lot.
Mm.
And what he was doing, he was botching on quite badly, so who knows. Afterwards, Kenny called out Silas Young. And then it led to a 3-on-1 beatdown. So I guess that Malonis is now Beer City Bruiser's new tag partner. So I guess Young is now transitioning into a singles competitor. Probably. So then SoCal Uncensored were in the ring. So yeah, Daniels Kazarian, Scorpio Sky are SoCal Uncensored. Attacking the Hung Bucks back at Final Battle. The Joe Koff came out and asked them to come out there, and you know, fans want to see the best wrestlers, and that doesn't include Daniels and Kaz. You know, they're just a disruption to ROH. I should probably fire you, and Kazarian's pissed, and Daniels is like, when I was world champion, you and me had chat about all the plans for the brand expansions. If you fired me, what would stop me from going and spilling all those secrets to Don Callis or to AJ? And Koff basically said, I've already consulted my attorney. Your contracts expire in 1 year. After Final Battle 2018, you're done with Ring of Honor. So, to me, that sort of teasing possibly they could plant the seed for the winter of Daniels.
I hope so.
You know, perhaps not even for the world title, but even for the tag titles. Either way, when they're going to be champions come Final Battle, and then it's like, what are you going to do? So we lead off with we finish off with Dalton and the Boys versus the Kingdom. Pretty decent. Dalton winning with the bangarang and then putting the Julie Newman on. But yeah, it was sort of weird. They went with the strongest match to start the show, not to close. Next week, we have the Dogs versus the Motor City Machine Gun set, and also a very interesting triple threat because it's the Best Friends versus the Young Bucks versus Dragon Lee and Titan. Ooh, that might be fun. That might be very fun. So next up,
moving on to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
so as it stands, New Japan's in flux. I guess the thing that we need to talk about, because we haven't talked about it since January 4th, is it looks as if we're doing Jericho Naito somewhere down the line.
Yep.
Interestingly. Also on that show, Iizuka hit Kawato with the Iron Finger because, reasons. Cody was going to beat the shit out of Ibushi, but Kenny Omega stopped him. So teasing some more stuff there. Then Kenny said how they needed unity to be number one and invited Jay White out to join Bullet Club, and Jay White accepted. Then did the switchblade gesture, hit Omega with the Blade Runner, and says, "I'm going to take your title now." So I guess there's your storyline for whatever they do next.
Am I reading something about the fact that Jay White joined Chaos?
Yeah. That really... And the great thing is afterwards he says, "Don't think I'm going to come at..." during the thing he said, "Don't think I'm going to come after you, Okada, just because we're on the same group." So it's like, so why did you put him in a group anyway? So then Ishii, Yano, and Beretta drop the titles immediately to Farley, Tonga, and Lower.
Yep. Not necessarily surprised at that, really.
Hanson got pinned by Davey Boy Smith Jr. in the 4-on-4 that they did, with Suzuki beating the shit out of Tanahashi. So it looks as if Suzuki versus Tanahashi is happening somewhere down the line. We'll get to that, I think. And then, Okada, and I can't believe we didn't mention this last time, Okada in his funky trousers. What's up with that?
You mean his Impact gear?
No, funky trousers. So, afterwards, Hiromu hit Ospreay with a time bomb. Evil laid out Goto. And Sanada put the skull end on Okada. Which leads us... We'll get to the Fantastica-Mania stuff in a minute, because I don't think any big stuff has really gone down yet. So, for the New Beginning shows, so next weekend... At least in terms of title matches. Oh, that was the other thing that happened was Kitamura had his first best of 7 trial match. He lost to Jay White, which made sense in terms of obviously trying to push Jay White. So next weekend, his second match is against Elgin, and his third match is against Juice Robinson. However, also set for the Sapporo shows, the 6-man tag belts are on the line, with Fale, Tonga, and Loa defending against Makabe Hanare, Toa Hanare, I should say. That's his new full name now, and Ryosuke Taguchi. And also on that show, the main event will be Tanahashi defending the Intercontinental title against Suzuki. I think Suzuki's winning it, because Tanahashi's got to be able to heal up sooner rather than later.
It's a good idea, too. Then you can have Suzuki defend the belt for a while.
Mm-hmm. And then you plant the seed for Shibata to come back.
Yep.
That might be a bit of a worry. Then for the Sapporo show on the Sunday, so a week on Sunday, the Young Bucks defend the junior tag belts against Sho and Yo in the rematch.
That's where they drop the titles.
And Kenny Omega defends the US title against Jay White. And then the following weekend, I think. No, actually, no, thinking about it, a couple of weeks after, the New Beginning in Osaka show, in terms of those matches, we've got Will Ospreay defending the junior heavyweight title against Hiromu Takahashi, Goto defending the Never Openweight title against Evil, and the heavyweight title up for grabs with Okada defending against Sanada.
I'll give him credit. They built up Sanada to be actually a credible contender to Okada, but how many people really think that he's got a chance to win?
Not that many, I'd guess. I certainly don't. So at the minute, Fantastica Mania is happening with some of the CMLL guys over. It will get interesting more so, though, this weekend because we have the 3 shows over 4 days at Kurikan Hall, which are the sort of the culmination of the stuff. So we'll go through certainly these 3 shows next week because we got title matches and big stuff on them and everything, at least. So show 1 on Friday has Angel de Oro defending the CMLL World Middleweight Championship against Cuatrero. The National Welterweight Championship will be on the line with Soberano Jr. taking on Sanson. And then the light heavyweight, the CMLL World Light Heavyweight title up for grabs with Nibela Roja taking on Gran Guerrero. Then show 2 on Sunday has the CMLL Brothers Tag Team Tournament. So there's 2 matches happening in this on this night. Nibela Roja and Angel de Oro face Ultimo and Gran Guerrero. And then Dragon Lee and Mystico face Sanson and Cuatrero. And the lights flickered again. The winners and losers of that will face each other and flickered again. The winners and losers of those 2 matches will face each other on the Monday. Also, though, for the Sunday show, we've got the NWA World Historic Welterweight title with Volador Jr. defending against Barbaro Cavernario. There's also on the Monday show, the final show of the 3, match set up for Satoshi Kojima versus Rush. Should be fun. And also Hirai Kawato's send-off match. He's going to Mexico to, I guess, not be a young boy anymore. He's teaming up with Atlantis to take on Barbaro, Cavernario, and Gato. So that's New Japan.
All right. And let's go to Impact.
Oh, this fun stuff. So the great thing is they take the stuff on Wednesday to air the following night. So they were trying to do the whole AJ style sort of, hey, this happened, you might want to watch. Thing is, viewership went down despite the fact it went up for the previous 3 weeks. So, logic. So we started off, and I'm just going from the taping results here rather than the actual show because I haven't been able to catch it because sleep. Matt Sydal successfully defended the Grand Championship against Falabar. The thing to note about, well, first, let's actually get to the fact that This show was in a 4-sided ring.
Yep.
6-sided ring again. Brilliant. Also, the Grand Championship is now a regular match. There are no rounds, there are no judges. We ditched that. So then Lashley beats KM in the next match. I might as well just go through the spoilers rather than what happened on Impact. Kira Hogan beat Laurel Van Ness after the distraction from Ali. LAX basically cut a promo on OVE. And OVE basically came out and said, no, we've got other business to deal with now. But we'll be tag champs somewhere down the line. And then Caleb Conley and Trevor Lee attacked LAX for no reason.
They're now a tag team.
Yeah, Johnny Impact and Moose beat Alberto and EC3. Oh, I guess the one thing to note from the show is KM is part of American Top Team, apparently. Wow, so they really... Wow, I'm looking at the notes and they really did different stuff. I don't know where that stuff happened. Oh, I guess it must have been the night before, I don't know. Basically, Dan Lambert shows up on the show. So I guess they haven't aired everything yet. Oh, no. Yeah, that's weird. So we get EC3 versus P.E. Williams, which EC3 wins by DQ. Just a regular match. Laurel Van Ness defends the Knockouts title successfully against Casey Spinelli. Said to be a pretty good match. Then we get some, I don't know, Alberto and Johnny Impact stuff with Eli Drake and Chris Adonis. Chandler Parks and Joseph are back, and Congo Kong scares the shit out of them or something. I don't know. Then we get Lee Conley and Hakim Zayn losing to Sanjay Dutt, Garza Jr., and Desmond Xavier. And then the main event was KM and Bobby Lashley beating Eddie Edwards and Moose. So I guess that's why people didn't watch, because it was actually a shit. They were trying to make out that the stuff was happening this week. It turns out it didn't. So I guess somewhere shit's going down. So yeah, so Impact and Moose beat Alberto and EC3. So I'm guessing this is what's going to be starting airing from this week. But the way that they were announcing the stuff was it's going to be on next week, I guess now. Who knows? So then Eli Drake and Chris Adonis cut a promo celebrating the life of Drake. And here comes Austin Aries, who comes out and says, "You're not the greatest of all time," which eventually led to a match happening immediately. And Aries won. I don't know what to say.
I'm okay with this.
I'm not. Because
Other than Ring of Honor, Aries had...
At this point, Aries is
No.
just having every single fucking title just on him at the same time.
He's Muta. Have you seen the image that Matthew posted on Twitter? He's basically like an homage to Muta right now.
Yeah, but Muta's better than Aries. Or I guess was better.
In his time, yes, of course. But the thing is,
yeah.
but that's the thing though. Right now, he's like a modern day Ultimo Dragon, but he doesn't have 9 belts.
Spoilers, he's wrestling for Destiny Wrestling's world title this weekend against Pete Dunne. Make that 6.
Yeah, the WWE versus Impact, and see what happens there.
Seidou and Ishimori beat Hayato Phantasma and Rohit Raju.
Raju sucks.
Then
I'm gonna throw that out there. He's better. He's easily better than Shira, but I mean, he's really, really way too fast, and he makes a lot of really basic mistakes.
Then Cult of Lee beat TC Reed and Mike Monroe.
Yep.
And LAX cut a promo on them. Then Laurel Van Ness beat Kira Hogan, with Ali making the save after a beatdown afterwards. Then Hania, the Howling Huntress, or as she's now being known, Hania, because they don't want to make any reference to Triple H. She beat Amber Nova, and then Rosemary attacked Hania afterwards. I mean, I guess they need new blood into the women's division, but I don't know whether... The thing is, I sort of don't want big names to go there, but also I don't want the little names to go there because I feel it's going to possibly hurt their careers somewhere down the line. Who knows? And then in a 4-way, Johnny Impact beat Alberto Moose and EC3 to become world titles #1 contender. And then on Explosion, OVE beat Reed and Monroe, and Rosemary beat Amber Nova. Because reasons. Yum!
Move on to the next day.
Day 2 on the 11th.
This is where your American top team with KM comes to fruition.
Apparently. There's the actual spoilers. I was getting confused. God, there were so many pages on here. So that for Explosion, Falabar beat KM. So then we had the first match I've got listed here was Lashley beating Sami Callihan via DQ. Yeah, he just beat the shit out of Lashley. And then Eddie Edwards makes the save. So I guess somewhere between the last show and this show, top team ditched Lashley. That really doesn't seem clear.
Reading these results that I'm seeing right now are just, it's so uber confusing. I wish I would have been able to go to these tapings because at least I can make sense of them.
From what I can tell from the notes that I've seen, Dan Lambert wasn't even on this show. So I think the gimmick's dead. Because Don Callis. Which is brilliant, because again, continuity, motherfuckers. So then Ishimori beat El Hijo de Fantasma to retain the X Division title. Rosemere beat Hania. Then EC3 shows up. To team up with Tyrus, who's back, to take on Matt Sydal and Johnny Impact. EC3 and Tyrus win, by the way. And then Brian Cage shows up.
Yeah, he does.
Because I'm guessing he probably ain't going to get hired by the E. Because, you know, possible Roman Reigns issues.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
From what I vaguely remember in terms of Cage. He beat a jobber. Then Lee and Conley beat LAX in a non-title match. Then Aries beat Drake, I guess, in a rematch.
He's got all the belts too. Like, he carries them all to the ring with him.
Then Brian Cage beat another jobber.
I would love to tell you who it was, but I cannot.
Then Lashley and Eddie Edwards beat OVE. Was this the bit where the fuck up happened? Or was it the day after?
The Eddie Edwards thing? I was here for it.
Oh, okay.
I was doing notes that show, actually. So yeah.
So it isn't this one then?
No, it's not this one.
So Lashley and Edwards beat OVE. Impact beat EC3. And afterwards, Tyrus and EC3 argued. Tyrus pushed him to the ground, and Aries and Impact had a stare down. And then for Explosion, Rohit Raju beat Hunter Wolf. Lowell Van Ness beat Kira Hogan. And Homicide could only wrestle on Explosion. He beat Serpentico. Brilliant. Not brilliant, but whatever. So then we get to Friday. Rohit Raju beating some jobber on Explosion. So then El Hijo de Fantasma beat Braxton Sutter. And then Sutter cuts a promo and says, I'm not out here with Ali because she ruins lives. I'm the biggest star in the company, and Brian Cage destroys the fuck out of him. Why are we doing this? Are we trying to make him get divorced? Because that's how this shit goes in wrestling. Beat Hania again. And Rosemary says she wants the Knockouts title. And then Taya Valkyrie shows up and lays her out. Thing is, what the fuck is Taya going to do? Because if their next big show is going to be in Canada, she can't be on it. So why are we bringing her into the angle for a title thing when she can't be on the show, possibly?
That's kind of solved somewhat. We'll get to that in the next taping the next day.
No, but I'm going on the logic. So now KM's in the ring saying that he's an ordained minister, so he's going to marry Laurel Van Ness to the Knockouts title. Oh, for fuck's sake. Sutter comes out and objects, saying that he made the biggest mistake of his life years ago and proposes to Laurel. And Laurel says no, and Ali comes up and beats up Laurel. Because I still don't work out what the fuck is going on. Jesus. So then Congo Kong and Jimmy Jacobs are talking with Joseph Park, wanting Abyss to come back. And out comes Grandma Jenny Park to stop mistreating Joseph. And Joseph Abyss is never coming back. But they're implying that basically Congo Kong destroyed Ethan Page. Sorry, Chandler Park. And Grandma Jenny might be next. So I guess, is that Ethan done with the company?
I don't know. It might have just been like what they did with Cody when Cody came in and did a couple one-shots.
So then we get to the start of Impact Crossroads because, you know, thing. So LAX beat Trevor Lee to retain the World Tag Titles. Matt Sydal beat Taiji Ishimori to get the X Division title and retain the Grand Championship. Title unification. I wonder what's happening here. Ali beat Valora Van Ness to get the Knockouts title. Brian Cage and Lashley beat OVE. Again, that's random. Congo Kong beat Joseph Park. And Aries beat Johnny Impact to retain the global title.
I've heard that match was really good.
Sarcastically clapping him. And then on Explosion, KM beat Sugar Dunkerton. Sugar, why? I know the money might have been good, but why? Sienna beat Kira Hogan. And Eli Drake beat Falabar. Then let's see how this is going. So let's see how this is going so far. Moose got fucking injured.
Yep.
And that angle with Aries and Eli Drake and Adonis was the last thing Adonis did.
Yep.
So again,
yeah, it is
fucking brilliant. I mean, it's not, but whatever. So now we get to Saturday. Yes. Starting off with Explosion or GWN, whatever. El Hijo de Fantasma beating Braxton Sutter.
He won. It was just a decent, okay match between the two. Basically, Braxton went for the pepper shaker, and it got reversed into the thrill of the kill, and that was the end of that.
Impact tapings opened with Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan.
Good stuff. Really good back and forth match. So Sammy went for a sit out Tiger Driver 91 shoulder breaker, and Eddie reversed it and basically used leverage to hold the shoulders down for the pin. And afterwards, Sammy laid him out with it, and then he used the baseball bat on Eddie Edwards, putting the chair on his head and busted him open hard way and made him bleed buckets everywhere.
Yeah.
Because when he hit the chair, it bounced, like the chair bounced up, and he actually hit him like midway swing with a baseball bat. So yeah, Eddie got busted open immediately.
What a great safe working environment. So then we get to the Feast or Fired thing, which had Rohit Raju, Taiji Ishimori, Trevor Lee, Caleb Conley, KM, Pete Williams, EC3, Moose, Tyrus, and Eli Drake. I guess Moose working for injuries of sorts.
For the most part, yeah.
The cases went to Drake, EC3, Moose, and Pete Williams.
Now, right here, I wrote some notes. And I want to give you some of these notes, like that, seeing if I was correct. This was my original way of thinking. I said EC3 is fired. Sydal, Moose, and PD against Aries. Drake gets a tag title shot. Well, I was close.
We'll get to that.
Yep.
Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary went to a double count out.
Good stuff. They're building up to. It looks like they're building a lockdown because they did a double count out finish on a very slow moving cactus clothesline. And they're setting up lockdown because these two have to be in a cage now because of the simple fact that obviously the ring is not enough to contain them. And then after the match was over, Taya ends up laying out Rosemary on top of the ramp with the double chicken wing face buster.
So then Jimmy Jacobs and Congo Kong show up, and innocent people got hurt because Joseph Park didn't bring Abyss.
So happy.
So then here comes Father James. Here comes Father James Mitchell.
This was amazing. This was amazing live, by the way, too.
Mitchell was like, "You and me, Jacobs, were similar. We're fans of monsters. You pushed Abyss too hard. His personality splintered. And now you've gone too far. You've gone too far. By taunting Joseph and hospitalizing Chandler and destroying the offices and humiliating Grandma. And you messed with the wrong guy." And Abyss showed up and beat the shit out of Congo.
This was awesome live.
So next week / later is Monsters Ball.
Yeah, I was thinking that's actually my notes said. I said setting up Jacob's Abyss Monsters Ball. Didn't think that they would just go with Kong and instead. I wanted Jacobs to work the match, honestly. And Jimmy Jacobs, when he comes out, he was dressed very well, let's just say what I can say here on a live podcast that people are listening to right now. Let's just say Jimmy Jacobs' outfit was very familiar to something that someone else would wear. We'll put it that way. A lot of similarities. We'll say that. I'm a big Jimmy Jacobs.
Zombie princess?
Yeah, princess something. The thing is, I will say right now that when it comes...
what the fuck? He was dressed up as Kimberly.
No. Wrong princess. The thing is, I will say right now that
Princess
just drop it. The thing is, Jimmy Jacobs has always been one of my favorites. I think Jimmy Loves Lacey is one of the best angles in the history of wrestling. Legit, not just because I can identify with the storyline. 100% if you know me.
Was he dressed up in the blood covered lab coat?
No.
The Age of the Fool?
No, we didn't. That was cool though. Yeah, I'm a big Jimmy Jacobs fan and always have been, and I'm glad he's a mouthpiece because Kong really needed one, honestly, and I think it actually works really well to have Jacobs be his mouthpiece, and then he can also take bumps too, as we found out later on in the night. So, Father James Mitchell coming out, like I said, I'm a big WCW guy. James Vandenberg into Jim Mitchell and ECW with Mikey Whipwreck and Tajiri. I mean, I was real, and then obviously with the original run with Abyss, I just really love the character, and I love seeing him and Jimmy go back and forth on the microphone. It's honestly the closest thing you're going to get to like a Paul Heyman type in Impact when it comes to a manager. And it worked. It worked in every way to get everybody excited about Monsters Ball.
So then Seidel comes out.
Yeah. This was interesting. This got an interesting live reaction, too.
He wouldn't be there without his spirit guide, Josh Matthews.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they did this.
Seidel just randomly goes heel.
Yep. He was wearing like a spirit mask, and it was like an animal mask that kind of looked like a hybrid between like a green Hayabusa mask and like the mask from Your Next. And he basically gives Josh Matthews the Grand Championship as a present, and like nope, I'm done. And Don Callis went on Twitter and basically said they were writing off the Grand Championship that way. It's now a prop. It's not a championship to be defended anymore. We'll get to that later.
They would drop the Grand Championship.
Well, there was too many titles in Impact, and Don Callis is already trying to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch.
Yeah, but just in the manner by making a guy just randomly heel, just because it fits.
I'm not sure why they turned Matt Sydal heel, but it actually kind of works pretty well.
Then Tyrus beat EC3.
Yeah, clean as a sheet too. This is the This is how I knew EC3 was going to be done after tonight. This is going to be the last match that he would have.
Well, we'll get to that. So then Ali beat Sienna to retain the Knockouts title.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to remember is was this where Sienna got injured?
Yeah, it wasn't really like. Apparently, she had some issues, and now who knows how she's going to be on the shelf for a while, because obviously she has blood clots, and that's insane to say the least.
Yeah,
but she continued the match as best she could, so I mean, more power to her. There's a lot of injuries on these tapings. Yeah, so the alley match is where it continued. Like, she went for the AK-47, got countered into the super kick. After she kicked out of the cherry popper, because obviously it's not her finish in Impact. And then here comes Braxton. And Braxton goes to propose, and Allie's like, no, no, no. And the next thing you know, out of nowhere, coming from the side, you knew something was going to happen. It was building to it.
No. He was proposing to her and then managed to call her Laurel.
Yeah, he said Laurel at one point. But I was paying more attention to what was going on with the camera setting up a run-in, and I was thinking, who's it going to be?
Oh, shit! It's Rich Swann! He's about to beat a bitch up!
And I swear to you, I'm the only one in that crowd who knew who she was. Because when I looked over to the left, and I said, oh my God, Su Yung is here. And the next thing you know, everybody around me is like, who? What's going on? Is that Rosemary? I'm like, no. But I'll tell you this. If you really, and I said this too, and I wrote this in my notes, Su Yung coming in to take out Allie, who is best friends with Rosemary, and take the title, leading to Rosemary against Su Yung, is exactly what I'm thinking they're leading towards. Makes complete sense.
I guess they don't want to hire her because she fucked over Gabe. Last year.
Considering the fact he's got a job now, I'd say that's a possibility.
But then in other terms, you'd thought they might feel sorry for her given, her boyfriend.
Maybe not.
And that issue. So I guess we're set, and Su Young's going to be here.
Big pickup for Impact, though, honestly. Say what you want about it. It's actually going to lead to some great matches.
It's a shame, but when you think about the circumstances, it probably fits.
Yeah.
So here comes Alberto. He wants Aries. And Aries says, oh, we're a lot alike. Yeah, we'll fight at Redemption. Because we're not calling it Lockdown, because apparently, fuck cage matches.
And we still don't know where Redemption is officially going to take place.
So the fans that for years and years and years have been told there's going to be a cage match show are not getting it. So in all probability, you're turning more fans off. Some of these decisions I don't get. Then Kelly Conley beat Fala Bar in a GWN match.
Yeah, they did the Warrior Rude finish. Trevor Lee grabbed the foot on the suplex attempt back in the ring.
Seidel beat Rohit Raju to retain the X Division title.
Hold on, I'm gonna bring this up here. So everyone here that's been listening for a while would probably know that I used to be a manager in the independent wrestling business. And when I actually worked a match where I was managing. And in this match, when you go back and watch this on the app, Trevor Lee is 100% me in this match. He chokes on the ropes. He throws forearms. And he did the finish where the suplex back in the ring, he pulled the leg and he held the foot down to follow ball so Caleb Conley could get the win. He is literally me in this match.
Nice.
I have to mention that.
So then we have the Aries Alberto contract signing, with Aries asking for Alberto's Juan Hancock.
Yep.
And they shake hands and Alberto leaves, and Aries says, "Play his music because it'll be the last time you'll be able to hear his music played last." I bet on this logic that means Buddy Aries is coming out first. They'll completely forget about that continuity. Again. So now it's time for the official fired reveals.
Yep.
Eli Drake gets a tag title shot.
Again.
Petey Williams gets...
I said
Petey
that.
Williams gets the X Division title shot.
I didn't think they'd do that.
EC3's next, and he's fired. And Moose gets the thing is, they're saying global championship. Do they mean the world title?
Yeah.
So why do they keep calling it the global championship? Because that's the other one, isn't it?
No, that's grand.
Oh, or whatever. Why is it global? That doesn't make sense. Just call it a world title. For fuck's sake. The great thing is EC3 goes, oh, it's not my case. It's Shimori's case.
Yep.
I picked a case in a silly, outdated match on the backbone of the company. I'm not getting fired because of a briefcase. I'm a Carter. And this company needs me. Again, I don't get the angle. But then eventually accepts his fate. Being fired can light a spark that leads to greatness. And shakes JB's hand and beats the shit out of him with a case.
That was kind of cool. Got a good reaction. And then he was baby facing it up for a while too. And he really liked getting the crowd to chant for him. And the next thing you know, he just hits JB and the crowd just completely turned on him. And here comes Brian Cage.
I'd have cheered him. I mean, this is the cunt that's ruining Law Radio next week. And then Brian Cage beats the shit out of EC3.
Yeah, I laid him out with a drill claw, and after the match was after the cameras obviously went off, EC3 babyfaced the crowd, and he hugged a bunch of the front office workers that were in the front, and he was high-fiving some of the fans, and then right before he left, he gave a bow at the top of the ramp, and some of the marks in the crowd were chanting Royal Rumble. Don't think that's going to be heard whenever when you watch it back.
Probably. Well, no, because by the time this airs, it'll be after the Rumble, won't it?
Right.
And then, because logically this makes sense, Congo Kong beats Abyss.
Yeah, I mean, just a formula.
Abyss is a pussy. Abyss is a pussy. Fact.
Yeah, it was a choke slam and then a top rope splash while Abyss was laying on a barbed wire board. And after the match was over, Abyss and Mitchell left through the crowd. Well, left as the crowd was chanting their names, and Abyss bowed to the crowd. So could we be seeing potentially the end of Abyss as an on-air part of the broadcast and just going back to his normal role as somebody behind the scenes? Because he's been in charge. He's been doing talent relations stuff for a while now.
So then we get to the really fucking random news. Impact Wrestling signing Gamma Singh.
That is very odd.
It's as if they're treating him as if he's actually going to be an active wrestler. But what, of course, the idea is he's going to make sure Rojit actually gets better.
I hope so. Someone needs to.
Because, of course, he's Jinder's... Well, Jinder's his nephew, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he obviously he's worked at a Stampede for quite a lot of the time, so yeah. But, that's random. So for Sunday, Taya Valkyrie beat Alicia Edwards on Explosion. Then Sami Callihan for the actual Impact show beat Fella Bar. Then afterwards, Eddie Edwards made the save with a baseball bat, of course, from an attack from OVE. Then Petey Williams beats Rohit Raju, Suicide, and Taiji Ishimori, and then afterwards says he's going to cash in his briefcase with the X Division title shot on face Seidel at Redemption. Then Su Yung beats Amber Nova. Brian Cage beats Bobby Lashley. Trevor Lee beats Falabar. Then Ali comes out and says, "I'm not afraid of monsters," and calls out Su Yung. And they have a match, which Ali wins via DQ because Su Yung used a kendo stick on her and the referee because, that happened. Then Johnny Impact beat Taiji Ishimori. And then afterwards, Jacobs and Congo confront Johnny, and Congo beats him up, and Johnny fights back, and Jimmy stops Congo. So immediately, Congo's just transitioned as if Abyss is retiring. You think that was Abyss's last match?
That's what I just said.
Ever. Well, they give him a farewell.
He did a bow at the end of the show.
Wow, I didn't see much from the notes about that.
I just mentioned it.
I'm trying to work out whether the fucking power's going out over here.
We're almost done.
So then we had KM and Dick Justice. With KM just saying Justice is fat and he's fat and he's fat and he's fat. Then Fowler Bar makes a save. Then bloody Lee and Conley show up, and then Tyrus makes a save, and he ain't cool with bullying. What the fuck? Then LAX beat KM and Braxton Sutter because reasons. Then Lashley comes out saying that he's at the top of the food chain and that Cage beating him was a fluke. He wants a rematch. The rematch happens. He loses. And then Lashley waves to the crowd and bows. So they're all fucking going. All the people that people want to see are leaving this company.
I mean, I'm glad I got to see C3's last night. I mean, I got to see... It's funny because I actually got to see the last night of... I got to see AJ's last night. I missed Jeff Hardy's last night because it was the night before, but that didn't matter because he came back. But the thing is, I mean, I've been able to see a lot of the last nights of Impact Superstars before they move on to the next.
And then we get Aries and Seidel for the Grand Championship and the World Championship, because fuck Global. And Aries wins. So he's Grand Champion now as well. A dead belt, which isn't dead anymore.
That's what I was trying to say.
Except it is fucking dead. Let's be honest. And then randomly for Global Wrestling Network, Alberto beat El Hair Fantasma. And Alberto took off Fantasma's mask. So who's fucking heel? Because when I look at the logic, Aries is heel. So does that mean Alberto's heel as well?
He didn't seem it the other night, but I don't know at this point.
I know he won the belt, but the last time we saw somebody cluster up the belts like this was Lashley, and that was heel.
Right.
So I don't know what the angle is. At least in the long term. Then we get to the confirmation that Laurel Van Ness is now gone. Coming from this final night, Alicia Edwards beating Laurel Van Ness on the GWN exclusive. The last match?
Let's see.
Yeah, she isn't listed again.
That would be her last match.
Yeah. So then Eli Drake beat Moose in a case versus case match.
Nope, never mind.
For the fact that Moose is injured.
Never mind. Laurel works the GWN match tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, but they're not actually putting her on Impact.
Nope.
Right.
Doesn't appear to be.
So during the match, OVE attacked Moose, and then Eddie tried to make the save. But Drake wins, so he's got both the world title and the tag title shots. Petey Williams beat Josh Matthews because Matt Seidel interfered. Because logic. Fowler Bar, Dick Justice, and Tyrus beat KM, Trevor Lee, and Caleb Conley. Sorry, Richard Justice, because they're completely different people. Fucking hell. Then Rosemary beat Tyre in an ODQ match. With Rosemary pile driving Tyre off a top rope and through a table. In a match that must continue at the pay-per-view, even though it fucking can't. Because obviously Tyre can't be in the title picture because of the other shit. So who knows? So then Drake's basically coming in and says, clearly I can't get my world title shot. I'm going to cash in my tag title shot against LAX. And my tag partner is going to be Scott Steiner. Why the fuck is this comeback? And then Steiner says it's going to be in Toronto. Even though it might not be. Brilliant.
If it's here, I'm definitely going. But I mean...
Moose beat Sammy Callahan via DQ with more baseball bat shit. Alicia gets cornered by OVE because after Edwards makes a save, and then Tommy Dreamer randomly shows up. What the fuck? So yeah, it's going to be OVE versus Moose, Edwards, and Dreamer in a House of Hardcore match. Christ. Braxton Sutter and Sue Young beat Fowler Bar and Kira Hogan with an Ali Young brawl afterwards. Rohit Raju beat Sugar Dunkerton. Why? One of them can wrestle, the other can't. Johnny Impact beat Congo Kong via DQ because Congo slammed Johnny into the steel steps of the ref called for the match. So KM comes out and create the open challenge and calls out the best in the business like Brooklyn Brawler and Barry Horowitz. Instead, it's Brian Cage. Squash match obviously happens. Alberto, Seidel, Callahan, and Christ beat Moose, Dreamer, Williams, and Aries. Dave Chris was ringside and got sent to the back during the match, but then Seidel pinned Pete Williams with some Matthews assistance to get the win. So I don't know who's on commentary then if Josh is assisting in the ring.
I will state right now there was not a commentary table at the show I was at, so I don't know if they had commentary tables.
You're never going to fucking know.
Nope, you're right.
Well, I guess we'll find out when we get to this Thursday, in case they do anything. And then for Explosion, Kira Hogan beat Laurel Van Ness. Again, Explosion. What a great send-off for Laurel. You pushed her and pushed her and pushed her, and you're fucking brushing her under the carpet. Disgusting. And then randomly, the very last match of the tapings, El Hijo de Fantasma beating Homicide.
Yeah, it's a very random final match.
Also, apparently, the Barbed Wire Massacre match that they recorded as part of the last set of tapings before the end of the year, they can't air on Pop TV because it's, quote, too violent. So, it's airing on Twitch because, yeah, Impact's going to be having, I think even as of now, has a 24/7 channel on Twitch. In which case, I want to see how many people are fucking watching. 372 people are idiots. Oh, wait, I'm watching it now. There are some people watching it at least, but it's going to be on there after Impact goes off the air tomorrow. The idea is that it's Impact. The feed is going to be old pay-per-views, old Impacts, all sorts of stuff, as well as exclusive things. They obviously can't do pay-per-views because they don't have that system on Twitch. But yeah. Also worth noting, though, the Spike TV, aka the Paramount channel, sort of ripped the shit out of itself. Supposedly, a disgruntled Spike TV Twitter employee tweeted, quote, "Well, since I'm out here anyway, I might as well tell you all the things I've been holding in for the past 18 years. Brace yourself, bro. Shit's about to get real." And then when Impact was brought up on TNA, they tweeted out, "When we greenlit TNA, we thought we were buying something entirely different, but wrestling turned out to be okay." And then Impact replied back saying, "All's well that ends well, I guess. It turned out to be a knockout decision." It probably fucking didn't. Oh, and just look at, wow, looking at this as well. There's a reason all our early shows were CSR, UFC, TNA, MXC, and UTI. Read. I approve of this. great thing is, I think it's still called Spike in the UK. Things. So that happened. The other thing that I'm trying to remember in terms of the Twitch deal, as I sort of implied, live audio wrestling is coming in on Twitch with Jeremy Borash, with live calls and chat interaction, and they're still using the old name, even though it's got fuck all to do with wrestling. It's just going to be Impact. Unless it actually, because it says all the latest news in professional wrestling. So if it is about all wrestling, I'm happy. But if it isn't, and it's just basically about stuff that's buddy with Fight Network and everything, that's going to be a bit stupid. Also, will WWE people want Jeremy Borash interviewing them? Wednesdays, Tyrus will be doing a live show called Nuff Said. Basically, just like his Fox News thing. It's just his opinions on stuff. And then Thursdays, they're going to be doing a second screen perspective on what's airing on Pop with the Matthews Megacast. So let's see how that goes tomorrow and this week and everything. Because fuck. Oh, what's next? Trying to think what's next. We covered Impact, we covered Ring of Honor, we've done the WWE stuff. I guess, yeah, there's no Lucha until God knows when. Ring of Honor we done, Smackdown we done, Tour blah blah we done. So I'm scrolling through my notes, guys, just to see what's going down. Oh, I guess Defiant. We'll have a look at some Defiant, because that's been getting weird to some extent. So a decent-ish show again, from what I can tell. We started off with Jörn Simmons versus Luke Menzies, so I guess Jobber, because I don't know who that is. Oh, he signed to WWE. So he jobbed even though he signed to WWE. What? I don't know. It was a decent match, but it wasn't like a squash match. They actually let Luke get some offense in and whatever. So, you know, either way, Jörn won with the gut wrench powerbomb. So then Speedball Mike Bailey's backstage, you know, saying how he's been distracted by Drake when he should be preparing for his internet title match with Zack Sabre Jr. And is mad that Drake's been cheating, and so tonight the feud will end. So then Zach Gibson comes out, of course, with his promo. Talking about listicle videos, saying that he'll do whatever he wants. And then he unzips his jacket to reveal an IPW shirt. Which is interesting because he isn't part of the ICW group, from what I can tell. So who knows? And then Flash Morgan Webster's his opponent. Gibson wins with the Shankly Gate submission. Good match though between the two of them. Probably because they've been at it for quite a while in various different companies. Flash and Gibson are good talent, so that should be all right. So then Gibson gets the mic afterwards, and he's appalled by the lack of competition. But as he goes to beat down on Morgan some more, Rampage Brown comes back, and Gibson flees, and all that. So then we got a Millie McKenzie video, and Alec Gracie shows up, more focused and more sadistic. He was banned from full contact stick fighting, so he wants to have a shot at British legend since he's fed up of how Defiant have treated him. So next week there's an open challenge to any legend. So I'm guessing that probably means like Doug Williams, and I guess if he's doing a show, Jody Fleisch. That's the only ones I can think of. So Drake versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Bailey wins with a pretty stiff kick to the head. Decent match. And then Gabriel Kidd's looking for Prince Amin. And he's stopped by Pastor William Eva and Lemon Slater and Jörn Simmons. But then Amin shows up and Kidd wants to go with him. But then Amin goes, "You need to join the congregation." So yeah, he's been brainwashed. So yeah, Pastor William Eva is doing the ministry of darkness. Jeez. So then here comes the main event. Austin Aries versus Travis Banks for the Defiant title. Very good match. Sadly, of course, there was a shit ton of interference from ICW guys, and then El Ligero and Joe Hendry showing up as well. Just randomly. The next week, we've got Joe Coffey in a handicap match against both Joe Hendry and El Ligero. The open challenge from Alex Gracie. And Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher making their debut in a non-title match against Jimmy Havoc and Primate. So, it's looking promising. But I'm waiting to see when they fuck it up. Because it's getting to that point that they will do. So I guess with that, we might as well go through at least some of the big news stories. Like, how British wrestling might be full of bloody pedophiles and sexual deviants. It's a bit of a negative thing to talk about, Owen, but
I'd say so.
A lot of stuff's happened in the past. A lot of stuff's happened in the past week. It started from this stuff on Twitter that sort of blew up to some extent on Reddit. With the Reddit title was "The Next British Wrestling Nonce." Revealed Gavin Edler of IPW. Admittedly, he isn't with IPW anymore. He's with Daniel Edler, not Gavin. Daniel Edler. I can't remember what promotion he's working with now. But he was the founder of IPW. It's now in new ownership, so it's got nothing to do with him. But yeah, an underage wrestling fan who I think was 16 at the time of the stuff was happening, who's now 17. Put out a series of tweets and also like direct messages style stuff. On Snapchat. Basically with him being very sexually suggestive towards her, implying that they actually had some sort of sexual thing beforehand. And then from that, a couple of other wrestlers have come out, and I can't remember the names of. If you see Brian Zane, Wrestling with Regrets, Week in Independent Wrestling, the names are on there. But the interesting one to me, especially because of how other promotions were going to be pushing him, at least from what we could tell from stuff, certainly ICW with their video packages. James Strangler Davis being accused of being in relationships with underage girls, which is awkward when you take into account that ICW's promos had "My name is Strangler Davis and I'm an addict." So it looks in a really good light there, doesn't it? Unsurprisingly, the show that Elder was supposed to be doing, Edler, got cancelled because literally every wrestler that was set to be on that show pulled out. And the other wrestlers and whatever, along with Strangler Davis, are also not getting booked by anywhere because of the allegations. And then we transition over to the same shit, just a different country. So now we get to CWF Mid-Atlantic. I'm trying to get the details about this. If I can find it. Yeah. Brad Stutz.
Yep.
He was ring announcer. And I think he was booker or something as well.
Makes sense, but usually that goes hand in hand for the most part.
So Pro Wrestling Torch put out a report that Stutz got fired by the co-owner Jeff Rudd to, quote, inappropriate behavior, which is what the statement was, and his relationship with Charlie Hartman and his company, Gimmickry Entertainment, that had a past that CWF Mid-Atlantic were not made aware of. Basically, it stems from him asking one of the CWF female employees if she'd engage in sexual activity for money, which he turned down. The report also makes mention of the fact that Charlie Hartman may have also been recruiting other women by going to sites like Backpage.com and strip clubs. So, yeah, some sort of prostitution ring. CWF officials also became a when they got Charlie's criminal record, which revealed that the 34-year-old has been in and out of jail since he was 19, so yeah, 15 years, on a slew of charges including fraud, assault, organized fraud, identity theft, burglary, and other outstanding warrants. And at one point was sentenced to 7 years in jail and served 4. And with this action, and obviously with the action of the, employing employees for sex for money, along with the record of Charlie Hartman, that's why they cut him. Apparently, Stutz has put a statement saying he's taking a step away from wrestling and devote himself to his marriage and his family for the time being. I don't think so, in all honesty. And then, in less scandalous stuff, but also what the fuck, Sid Vicious was booked for AIW, sorry's show at Christmas.
I remember this.
There's a great live recording of the aftermath of what happened. So Sid no-showed the hotel reservation for the night before. And so John Thorne is obviously wondering what the shit's going on. And he ain't answering his phone. However, he does answer his phone when it's on Hornswoggles. His explanation is he got a speeding fine or something. And because of that, his passport wouldn't clear because it's Trump's America. So he can't make the show. To counteract this, because the idea was it was supposed to be Dick Justice and Matt Justice teaming with Sid Justice to be the Justice family. Instead, we had EC Justice.
That's great.
And on the other side was Gregory Justice, Gregory Iron. Yes, EC3 and Gregory Iron both dressed up as Psycho Sid for the night. And all the merch that they did for Sid, EC3 signed saying, he wasn't here, I was. Or, I'm not Sid, EC3. Yeah, so I don't think Sid's going to be coming to AEW anytime soon.
No, probably not.
So in recent news, Roman Reigns has now officially put out a statement because he's been allegedly aligned to a steroid dealer, Richard Rodriguez. Basically, he claims that the names that he gave out were Reigns, Josh Duhamel, and Mark Wahlberg, except, of course, all three were under assumed names, so there's no actual proof. All three have denied these claims, of course, and whatever. And yeah, Roman said, I've never heard of Richard Rodriguez or wellness, fitness, nutrition. I've learned from the mistake I made nearly 2 years ago. That was the Adderall thing from, 18 months ago, from June?
Yeah.
And paid the penalty for it. Since then, I've passed 11 tests as part of the WWE's independent drug testing program. So there you go. That's the statement. Whether it means anything, who knows? Probably not. So in terms of other news, apparently Mixed Match Challenge got about as it stood when Dave got the notes earlier today. The Facebook video's got about 1.2 million views, peaking at about 100,000. It was aired over here, from what I remember. Also, during the Smackdown tapings, there was a KFC Colonel Rumble, with AJ winning by eliminating Rusev with a Stone Cold Stunner, with Rusev doing a dramatic sell going over the top rope. I guess that's going to be in the KFC commercial. Also, interestingly, not in character as Woken Matt. To some extent. Some of it was, and then some of it wasn't. He said that there will, quote, 100% be a final deletion style match in WWE. But asked fans to be patient about adding other characters to the Woken universe, and that his character has to be established for a bit first. So I guess that means Mania, which would be a bit of an awkward bit, because how well is it going to be for a crowd to watch a fucking screen at a WrestleMania for a match? That normally doesn't go well.
Could always push it to SummerSlam.
Still, it's a big pay-per-view. Would you want to do that on a big pay-per-view? In all honesty.
A WWE pay-per-view? Maybe not the best of ideas.
Oh, and there's the photo of Ricochet, War Machine, and Candice. Which fits. Finally, Kenny Omega's been added to New Japan's tour of Australia next month. Took a while. I don't know what was happening there. Joey Ryan's going to be wrestling for CZW on WrestleMania weekend. Also, interestingly, Evolve got Munenori Sawa, who last wrestled for Evolve at Evolve 5. So that's like at least 6 years ago, I think. Teaming up with Daisuke Sekimoto to take on Ringkampf of Volta and Timothy Thatcher. So that should be tasty. Also with the news. Hang on, have I got the right? Where's yesterday's? Come on, Papa Dave. Give me yesterday's news. Yeah, I don't want daily wrestling history. I want the daily... There it is, the daily update. Probably somewhere else in my things. So yeah, with the USO thing, I think it was what? UI?
Mm-hmm.
In Hidalgo, Texas, on the show on Sunday. So I don't think anything will come from it, from what I can tell.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, the statement
I believe
from
it's the
WWE
second
said
strike, though.
the state from WWE said Joshua Fatu is responsible for his own personal actions. We're investigating the matter and awaiting info from the local law enforcement. Paige tweeted that 2018 will be her year. If she's injured and not coming back ever, it ain't gonna be, is it? Oh, I guess this is something we got to mention. All In's been sort of confirmed for
Yep.
September 1st.
That's bad idea.
The usual names.
Bad idea.
the usual names that you expect are connected with it. But the interesting one that just got added to yesterday, Tessa Blanchard's going to be all in. Apparently, the Young Bucks and Daniel Cormier have buried their Twitter feud. Finally, as it seems. Jazzy Gaber's had surgery on her neck, so she's hopefully going to be along soon. Megan Flair is getting engaged to Conrad Thompson.
I saw that.
So that's why he wanted Giovanni there, because Giovanni's the best man. And Progress have announced that Travis Banks will be defending his Progress World title against TK Cooper at their next show on Rumble weekend. Which is interesting because they're tag partners, of course, as part of the South Pacific Power Trip. Something I didn't mention earlier for the UFC. John Jones took and passed a polygraph test to try in an effort to prove that he didn't take any performance-enhancing substances that he would have known of. So, who the fuck knows? Also, Ring of Honor War of the World tickets are on sale now, at least for ringside members, and go on sale Friday to the public for the New Japan crossover shows. So, be the low auditorium on the 9th of May, Toronto on the 11th of May, Royal Oak, Michigan on the 12th, and then Chicago on the 13th. Apparently. And whatever. Apparently Sean Mooney ain't going to be on the 25th anniversary of Raw show. That's annoying. It's really annoying and disappointing. I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. So also at the Impact tapings, they had an NWA Empty Arena match.
Yep.
With Tim Storm defending the title against Josephus. And they put it up for free. So I guess Billy Corgan and Fight Network buried the hatchet or whatever.
Apparently.
Again, another hatchet that's been buried. All these buried hatchets. It's all happening. I think that's all the major stuff that I can think of. It's been down. Or that's gone down, I should say. Oh, I guess the other thing, again, MMA based. Jimmy Smith left Bellator and he's now going to be part of the UFC stuff. See that? In fully, in full connotations anyway. So, because of the way we're going here, I'm going to run through results from the end of last year and the first week of this year. And then I'll go through what's coming up this weekend, and then we'll have another 2 weeks to catch up with next week. So, I can find the spot in my notes. Thanks, guys. Something we might as well mention because it did happen. We didn't talk about it. The Aero Lucha pilot happened. With Willie Mack beating Mr. 450, Masquerita Dorada beating Demus, Keira and Lacey Lane beat Tyra and Vanilla Vargas, with Rebby Hardy as the heel authority figure, apparently, for some reason. And that people will face off for the title next week, even though this is a one-off pilot, from what I can tell. James Storm beat Trey Miguel. MVP and Sammy Guevara went to a DQ because MVP got DQ'd for pulling the ref in front of a Sammy dropkick. Hurricane Helms, Jack Edwards, and Maximo beat Darga, Garza Jr., and La Mascara. Jack Edwards is Jack Evans because they can't call him Jack Evans for some reason. Penta and Mysterio Jr. beat John Hennigan and Rush. They are doing another one, I think, in the next few weeks. But in terms of what's happening with it, who knows? I have to see. So the Southside. I haven't got the Southside Wrestling results. Okay. Should probably see if they've actually come in. Southside results. Considering it's been 2 weeks since I actually noticed that these things happened. Southside results. Cage match. Please save me cage match. Oh, we actually have results now. I can actually read them off. So the big stuff from that, Kaylee Ray retained the Queen of Southside title over Zia Brookside. Stevie Boy retained the Speed King title over Ricky Knight Jr. And the Joseph Connors Experience featuring Liggs. So yeah, Joseph Connors and El Ligero beat JBH of Damian Dunn and Kip Sabian to retain the tag titles. It's worth noting that I think they had a match for the tag titles with a tables match or something somewhere down the line earlier in the year, and it got in Botchamania for the worst finishes because the tables wouldn't break. I think it was there. I'm not sure. Progress. Their mystery show, the Unboxing Live 2, Unbox Harder from the Electric Ballroom in Camden. It started off with James Drake, Chris Brooks, Mark Davis, and Tyler Bate beating Zach Gibson, Carl Fletcher, Trent Seven, and Inflatable Kid Lycos. So the 4 tag teams were, there was one partner on each side of the match. Chris Brooks was the sole survivor. Jack Sexsmith beat Joe Coffey by submission. In the 6-way, Millie McKenzie beat Candy Floss, Shikara, Charlie Morgan, Charlie Evans, and Sierra Loxton. A 12 Days of Christmas match saw Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins beat Clint Margera and Drew Parker. Oh, that's going to be good and violent. Rampage Brown beat Flash Morgan Webster. Travis Banks beat Will Ospreay by submission to retain the world title. From what I heard, that was a ridiculous match. You should try and catch on Demand Progress. Banks said he will defend the title against anybody, and that's where TK Cooper came out saying that whenever he's fit and ready, he's going to face him. But as we know now, apparently that's going to be next weekend. And then Pete Dunne beat Jack Gallagher for the UK title. AIW, what I previously mentioned, with Sid not showing up. So we had Filthy Tom Lawler beat Lewis Linden in the opener. Mance Warner and Shane Schultz, with help of the Duke, beat the Young Studs. Dick Justice, Matthew Justice, and E Justice 3 beat the dedication personified of Brian Carson and Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham and Gregory Vicious. Dominic Guarini beat Ethan Page. PJ Smooth and Swoggle beat To Infinity and Beyond to win the tag belts. The Production beat No Consequences in a 4-on-4 match. Joey Janela beat Jimmy Jacobs to retain the Intense title. Tracy Williams beat Eddie Kingston. Candice LeRae beat Gringo Loco, Matt Cross, and Laredo Kid in what was her last match for AIW, from what I can tell. And Nick Gage beat Tim Donst to retain the Absolute title. I have got a show this weekend. From what I can say, that Nick Gage isn't even on it, so who knows? CWF Mid-Atlantic's Battlecade had Mike Miles beat Dirty Daddy in the final of the RGL Championship Tournament to win the title. Matty De Niro and the Ugly Ducklings beat Ethan Sharp, White Mike, and Timmy Lou Ratton. Eric Andrews won a scramble match to get the golden ticket to get any match of his choice with any opponents and stipulations down the line. Zayn and Dave Dawson beat Mecca Mercury and Aaron Biggs in a last man standing match to retain the titles, which was interesting because all four men were down, but Zayn Dawson fell onto his feet on the arena floor right before the referee's 10 count. So Andrew Everett beat Logan Easton LaRue to win the PWI Ultra J title. But the thing is, Everett's on Japanese tour now. I'm not sure what promotion. So Brad Attitude beat Chet Sterling. Kane Justice beat Nick Richards by submission. Rick Converse beat C.W. Anderson to win the title and keep his career in the I Quit match. And Eric Royal beats Jesse Adler to win the Worldwide TV title. And Trevor Lee beat Roy Wilkins in a controversial I Quit match because he was accidentally punched in the face by his own manager, Roy Wilkins. And they protested the decision because it wasn't Trevor Lee specifically that drew first blood. And then All Stars attacked Trevor, hanging him by the bottom rope. So, and also the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title got revamped. And then Wilkins and the All Stars left with it at the end of the night. So, who knows? AAW, the Windy City Classic, we had Keith Lee and Shane Strickland beat Scarlett and Graves. ACH and Matt Riddle went to a 20-minute time limit draw. Besties in the World beat Kurt Stallion and Nick Brubaker. David Starr beat Eddie Kingston via baseball bat shot to the face, because that's Eddie Kingston for you. AR Fox beat Joey Janela, Teddy Hart, and Penta. OL4K and Sammy Callahan beat Myron Reed, Stephen Wolf, and Trey Miguel. Connor Braxton and Jake Something beat Paco and Sean Waltman. And then Ray Phoenix beat Jeff Cobb via Mexican Destroyer to retain the AEW World title. And then with the Beyond Wrestling, Matt Riddle got an open challenge. I can't remember what happened to who he was supposed to be facing. But Matt Tremont answered it. And Tremont actually beat Riddle. So the main event was right after midnight, so right at the start of the new year. Joey Janela beat David Starr in a Fans Bring the Weapon match. Although I will note that Drew Cordero, the promoter, wasn't happy because somebody tried, while the match was going on, somebody tried to sneak glass balls into the ring. Or glass, I don't know if it was glass balls or glass shards. But either way, it was something which would actually be a hazard to their lives. So I don't know what the shit happened there. And also, worth noting as well, Wheeler Yuta beat Flip Gordon because I can't remember who Wheeler Yuta was supposed to face for their tournament for tomorrow thing. But whoever it was, I guess they did another show somewhere else. And from what I can tell from the way they were talking about it, that guy's never going to be booked by Beyond again. Because they were saying how the tournament final would be delayed to an indeterminate date. So we'll have to see. And then from Rev Pro's Live at the Cockpit shows, might as well mention them. The 24 show, the first of the two, on the 6th of January. The quarterfinals for the crown, the first women's champion, had Zoe Lucas beat Zam Phoenix, Gianna Perazzo beat Sami Jane, Ginny beat Nina Samuels, and Millie McKenzie beat Charlie Evans. Mustache Mountain and CCK's tag title match went to a no contest because Jack Gibson and Josh Bodom attacked all of them. Earlier on in the night, they beat the Cruiserweight champ Curtis Champion and Ryan Smile. No title on the line anyway. Also, Pete Dunne beat El Phantasmo on that card. The following night, live at the Cockpit 25, the semi-finals for the women's matches saw Deonna Purrazzo beat Zoe Lucas and Ginny beat Millie McKenzie. Then Curtis Chapman was due to defend the Cruiserweight title against Rob Leas, but Josh Bodom attacked Curtis. But then Ospreay made the save. Then Gibson came out, and then Travis Banks showed up, so it became a 6-man with Bodom, Ospreay, and Banks winning. Sorry, not Bodom, Chapman. Ospreay and Banks beating Bodom, Gibson, and Rob Leas. Pete Dunne beat Chris Brooks. Nina Samuels and Charlie Evans beat Sami Zayn and Zam Phoenix, with Sami attacking Nina afterwards. Zack Sabre Jr. retained the British heavyweight title, beating Martin Stone by submission. Stone basically said how he nearly beat him and wanted a rematch, so Zack Sabre Jr. low-blowed him. And the main event saw Ginny beat Deonna Purrazzo to become the women's champion. But then afterwards, Bea Priestley showed up, and then Millie McKenzie, the suplex queen she is, suplex Ginny, which will lead us to this weekend, because the rest of the stuff I'll have to get to next week. So this weekend, sticking with Rev Pro, their high-stakes show, I think it's pretty much all but sold out. It's the New Japan crossover show. So there's some usual matches like Adam Brooks versus Ryan Smile, Josh Bodom and Zach Gibson taking on CCK, Mandrews versus Will Ospreay, and the women's title in a triple threat with Ginny defending against both Bea Priestley and Millie McKenzie. And then your Japanese matches, LIJ of Evil and Sonada face the Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. And Mustache Mountain defend the tag belts against Suzuki Gun of Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki. Shit could go down, people. Shit could go down. ICW has its first set of Fight Club tapings of the year. On the card here, at the usual place of the Garage in Glasgow. We've got Leighton versus Chris Renfrew. Session, Moff Martina and Bram taking on Ravy Davey and Casey. Wolfgang versus Kid Fight. DCT versus Joseph Connors. Wee Man's Mystery Tag Team taking on Polo Promotions in a non-title match. Kenny Williams, Shaw Samuels and Jack Jester face Stevie Boy Xavier, Lewis Gervin and Aspen Faith in a Glasgow street fight. And we've also got Mikey Whiplash versus Jordan Devlin. And for the ICW World title, BT Gunn versus Red Lightning. Over to Canada now. Destiny Wrestling. It's Carnage show being headlined by Pete Dunne defending the Destiny title against Austin Aries. So expect him to add that to the pile, probably. There's also a Loser Leaves Destiny match with RJ City and Stone Rockwell. Josh Alexander's issued an open challenge, and there'll be a Santino Cobra Cup Rumble with 30 matches, with apparently a huge surprise. We don't know what it is, because obviously it wouldn't be a surprise otherwise. C4 over in Ottawa have In the Mouth of Madness this Saturday at the Vanier Columbus Club in Ottawa. So the double main event that they've got here is Kobe Durst versus Vanessa Craven for the C4 title. And then in a grudge match, Evil Uno and Frankie the Mobster versus Tabernacle Team. We've also got Stu Grayson versus Josh Briggs, LAX versus the Monster Mafia, Brute Van Slyke one-on-one with the Space Monkey, Heavy Metal Chaos defend the tag belts against the Doom Patrol, and a 6-man tag. We've got Fight or Flight and the Virus Justin Cy Callie versus High and Mighty and Cecil Nix. Michael Von Payton, one-on-one with Brett Banks, and a four-corner scramble with Carl the Beast, Mark Wheeler, Stevie Theus, and Matt Nix. Smash Wrestling have got 2 shows this weekend. Friday, they've got the Attack the Kingdom show, the Station Music Hall. Kevin Bennett versus Tyson Dukes for the Smash titles on that one. At least headlining it. Joe Hendry's also on the show as well, so I guess he's getting bookings over there. And then the big one, Any Given Sunday 6, is on Sunday at the Phoenix Concert Theatre in Toronto. So on this one, I'll go through this one because it's the biggest show of the 2. We've got Sebastian Suave versus Tarek. Joe Hendry versus Scotty O'Shea. Mark Haskins taking on Kevin Bennett. Matt Riddle versus Brent Banks. Tyson Dukes defending the Smash title against Frankie the Mobster. And the Well Oiled Machines and Tabernacle team go at it in a ladder match to crown the first ever Smash Wrestling Tag Champs. Speaking of Tag Champs, Alpha One's Wrestlers Gone Wild from Hamilton, Ontario on Sunday features a tag team gauntlet match featuring the champs of Ethan Page and Cody Rhodes. Along with that, you've got Shane Saber defending the Zero Gravity title in a 5-way. Ricky Shane Page defending the Alpha Male title against Alessandro Del Bruno. We've also got Eddie Kingston, Kobe Durst, and Josh Alexander in a triple threat. Alex Daniels and Kurt Stallion, the grudge match. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Stokely Hathaway, and Stevie Fierce versus Matt Nix. Dominic Guarini and Space Monkey in a 6-person tag. And also Joey Ryan versus Gregory Iron set for it. And now moving into the USA stuff. Queens of Combat have got a double header over the afternoon and the evening of Saturday at the Mid-Atlantic Sportatorium in Gibsonville, North Carolina. The matches currently set for either of those shows include Savannah Evans, Kira Hogan, and Alley Cat in a triple threat. Willow Nightingale making her debut, taking on Priscilla Kelly. Blonde Ambition face the Sea Stars to crown #1 contenders for the tag belts. And Sue Young defends the Queens of Combat title against Tessa Blanchard. AIW's Death Row happening this Friday. Raymond Rowe's last match, at least in AIW, taking on the debuting Keith Lee. So I'm guessing Keith Lee will win, but you never know with AIW. We've also got Malcolm Monroe III versus Jonathan Wolf. The Production and No Consequences, seemingly again in an 8-man tag. Big Twan Tucker and Parker Pierce versus Weird World. We got To Infinity and Beyond, Dedication Personified, the PM Experience, and the Young Studs in a 4-way to the crown #1 contenders to the tag titles. Juice Robinson faces Dominic Guarini, and Shane Mercer versus Matt Justice, also on here. AAW has its first show of 2018 as well, The Art of War. The big ones for this: Zema Ion will be addressing the crowd about his injury. ACH versus Paco. Myron Reed taking on Teddy Hart. Kurt Stallion and Jake Fink versus Zero Gravity. Kevin Lee Davidson taking on Eddie Kingston. Jessica Havoc and Kylie Ray face Allison Kay and Scarlett. Again, I'm not sure whether that's happening considering, Sienna's injury and everything. So I guess we'll have to see. I might have to do a flip and switch there. Juice Robinson versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman. OVE, or whatever the hell we call them, Callahan and the Chris Brothers, face the wrestling stable of Jeff Cobb, David Starr, and Trevor Lee. And then the 2 title matches, Besties in the World put their tag titles up for grabs against Shane Strickland and Keith Lee. And Ray Phoenix puts the AIW heavyweight title up for grabs against Matt Riddle. And then, I guess the big one of the week, Ring of Honor, their TV tapings in Nashville. The matches set for this show already have actually 3 matches in the Women of Honor tournament. We got Madison Rain versus Mande Leon, Brandy Rhodes versus Karen Q, and Kelly Klein versus Jesse Brooks. I mean, I'm guessing from that list, probably Madison, Brandy, and Kelly, you think, Owen? Would you say?
Possibly.
We've also got Marty Scurll versus Shane Taylor, Jay Lethal versus Flip Gordon, Adam Page and the Young Bucks defend the 6-man tag belts against SoCal Uncensored. The Motor City Machine Guns put the tag titles up for grabs against the best friends of Britta and Chucky T. Matt Taven 1-on-1 with Cody, and Dalton Castle defends the world title against Punishment Martinez. So way to, I guess, not do that then for the anniversary pay-per-view next month. So yeah, we'll cover the results from those and the stuff from last weekend next week. It's going to be a bit of a long drag to get through, but one, I'll try and get through it quickly, and two, we won't have to go through, 6 or 7 straight days of Impact tapings next time.
Right.
Just do a quick highlights or lowlights of Impact, depending how bad it is or good it is. Let's be optimistic.
True. I think that's our show.
So I think done for the week for a change.
We're done with wrestling for the week, but I mean, we're just getting started here on the network. And at 8 p.m. tonight, join Ashley, AJ, and myself as we try to predict every single category in 2018 Academy Awards. Before
that one might be going long because time to actually make a note of everybody's picks.
Yep,
is doing it this year. So hope I'll have to work out what the shit I'm going to do with the transposing of the not transposing, but the noting down the details as to what's going on. Because if there's different picks that you guys pick that aren't in mine, I can't really copy and paste it easily in the thing.
Right.
So I'm gonna copy and paste my picks into at least a list that I've got. So then if there is somewhat crossover, like Gary Oldman, I can probably put that in everybody's list already, but then just, work around if you've got different names or I've got different names and whatever. Because no doubt we probably have. If we were all the same, that'd be a bit fucking boring.
And the contest continues.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Well, I don't know whether we count the sort of Oscar predictions becomes its own separate contest.
Yeah, it's not really part of the regular contest.
It's the contest within the contest, but outside the contest. I don't know, confusing, but yeah, because that'll be interesting come Tuesday.
Agreed.
That also when I do the live reactions to that, I have to work out how to make sure to get the colors right on my thing. So it's like, well, you got that one, I got that one. You got 4 of that category. I got 3. AJ got 5. Whatever. So that will probably take about 10 minutes to work out on the spreadsheet.
Right.
So yeah, when you think about it, clusterfuck of a week or so coming up with that tomorrow, probably the 25th anniversary of Raw on Monday. Tuesday, literally sort of hours after that. Christ. Just wrote that out. For the Oscar reactions and everything.
Our podcast, of course.
Wednesday, probably for the podcast again next week.
I would say so, unless something changes. And then we're back here the weekend because we've got NXT TakeOver.
Royal Rumble weekend, yeah.
And the Royal Rumble. and Raw and the Wednesday show, and that's going to lead us into
February.
the BAFTAs.
Well, no, they're not till like.
Well, that's the next big thing after that, though.
Well, yeah, certainly in terms of live stuff. But yeah, certainly into February, you're going to be getting a lot from us in the next, 11 days. I guess 2 weeks, because, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that's 7. So pretty much for 1 week of the 2 weeks that we're on for the next 2 weeks, there'll be a live show each day or night, whatever. But yeah, that doesn't get any more tedious. Oh, it is. It's complicated.
So that's your show. Ashley, where can you find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at AshesMyNameUK. Apparently, I'm getting angry at cinemas for not knowing about their own promotions.
Indeed. So that's going to be your show tonight, and I want to thank everyone for joining us. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page of Popcast Network. Thank you again, everyone, for getting us to over 400,000 views since we've been around. So we really appreciate it here. Thanks, everyone, for continuing to spread the word about Popcast Network and about our wrestling content and our awards content here. And that's going to be your video for tonight. Once again, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Go to bed.